a little bit scared, but we'll just roll with it. I am blocked by one now, Scottish wrestlers that I'm aware of. Then I'm going to go for a piss during your match.
Sorry, a one-legged pedo, that's just like a whole new level of nonsense.
And then in between these matches, it was fucking porn. And the tagline was it, filling Braveheart's opening. Oh my fucking god, I'm going to be a dad.
Hello and welcome to K&K Wrestle Factory. My name is Kyle and I'll be one of your hosts, and I'm joined as always by my lovely co-host, Kaylee.
Hello, we're back.
We're back, but we're not alone. We have a guest. Now, I feel like we need to give it a bit of an intro here, a bit premature there, right? So not only is he the founder and main person behind the Scottish Wrestling Network website, he is the podfather of Scottish wrestling. It is Billy Strachan.
Hello, I'm here to tank your views.
It can't be much worse than the last episode. We're good. People love to hear our WrestleZone reviews. Anything else, it's just down. So this is my hope. Anything related to WrestleZone will be fine.
We're just waiting to hear their name to be mentioned, really. I mean, that's why I listen to the Mosh Pit quite a lot. Just wait for my name to be brought up.
I'll pretend that's not the same case with us. Me and Kaylee just sit there, just waiting. On the big telly. Just waiting.
See, I genuinely like watching them, and Kyle goes, look, see? And I'm like, okay. But no, it'll be fun. I think it'll be exciting. What we need to do, though, is we need to wait as long as possible to say their names so we get them to watch long enough.
Oh, that's why I leave the questions till the end.
Yeah, worked out.
I did forget about them in the last episode, but I tried to leave them till the end. So, Billy, you are the interviewer most of the time.
Yeah.
But the tables have turned. You know, the interviewee. How does that feel?
I'm a bit nervous because last time I got interviewed for my own podcast, it didn't really go well because I think I arranged it as an interview for me for my 100th episode, but I don't think the guy asked to host it absolutely got my idea, so it didn't kind of go out well. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what questions you got and what you've got prepared. I'm a little bit scared, but we'll just roll with it.
As you should be, Billy. You should be scared.
I mean, ultimately, how much you want to share is up to you. But we'll get into the start of it. Like we'll do the usual interview question, right? So we're all wrestling fans. So how did you get into wrestling? Like, what was the founder moment? What was the big bang?
That's a good question. It's an excellent question on a podcast that everyone should use. Mine was I went to a friend's house. He was called Greg. That's not important to the story, but I went to a friend's house, and for some reason he was watching Raw or had Raw on, and it was The Undertaker versus Kane Inferno match, and I just couldn't take my eyes off it. And I was like, what, 9 years old, and I saw a man get set on fire. And then The Undertaker, while Kane was like flailing around with his arm on fire, he turned around and this old man appeared crying, and it was Vince McMahon. And he had a teddy bear. And then The Undertaker picked up the teddy bear and set it on fire. And then I had nightmares for a couple of weeks until my dad bluntly told me, it's not real. And then I still watched it. So I remember Greg had loads of like tapes. He had Royal Rumble 98, because I remember the cover. I thought it was the coolest cover ever. That was The Undertaker with the nails in his head. Austin with the nails in his head.
Yes.
And I just, from there it took a while, because first next time I actually properly saw it was Heat on Channel 4. And because my mum went, oh, there's that WWF stuff. It's on Channel 4. Oh, okay. So I think it was after The Simpsons, like 6 o'clock or something like that. And the first memory of Heat, I remember it was the one after Davey Boy Smith died, I think, because it came up with the in memory of Davey Boy Smith. That every Sunday I would run upstairs, because of course you couldn't tape it, so I ran upstairs 6 o'clock to watch Heat, and then it came on Channel 4. Royal Rumble 2000 was the first one I taped and wore that tape out. Loved it. So yeah, it was since Heat is probably the reason why I continued watching, but Kane and Undertaker giving me nightmares was the catalyst for all of it.
So when you see,
that's so fun.
When you say you wore the tape out, right? Was it specifically the Mae Young section of the Royal Rumble 2000.
Oh, and it was live, so we didn't get the big X on it. We did get blacked out, but it didn't get the massive X that's on the actual VHS copy or the DVD that came out eventually. No, it was, for some reason, it was X-Pac getting eliminated was the bit I thought was the most amazing bit. It was right near the end, and then Rock just threw him out, and he just went flying, landed on his back flat, and it was just the best thing ever. Because I watch Rumbles every year for Royal Rumble season, and I was watching 2000, and I had Kelly, and I was going, watch this one, watch this elimination. This is the best elimination you'll ever see. Watch this, and it happens to it. Why did they do that? I don't know. Oh, it was the best thing though.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, like, see, back when you're like younger, honestly, wrestling is like so fun, so animated. I think it's cool. And see, going back to what you were saying about like the cover with like Stone Cold with like the pins in his head, I remember that. I remember on like a Friday night or something, my dad used to take me to Blockbuster because I'm that old, and I always thought it was cool. The wrestling section had like all these really cool like pictures and things, and some of them like stand out to you because they were so random. Like you don't really get stuff like that anymore because they're not really trying to sell like covers. But yeah, I thought it was really cool, and that one always stands out. I think it's so cool. So,
well, because that'll be about the time you were watching it, like because you're kind of going back and watching the Attitude Era stuff. So that'll be around that time. Is that the one with Triple H and Cactus Jack?
It is, yeah.
With that amazing match, yeah. I always get the Royal Rumbles mixed up. That's the one in Madison Square Garden, isn't it?
It is, and that one, it's got the Hardys, Dudleys, and the Tables match as well, which made me have I love the Hardy Boys, and that was seeing them doing all that stuff, and that would have been one of the first times seeing the Hardy Boys, and I was like, oh, they're my team, they're the best, they're so cool.
Honestly, it's such like a good show overall. Like I love it. But yeah, seeing the Hardys, Jeff Hardy's always been like, he was my first crush, right? When I was younger, he was the first person I ever fancied, and I swore I was going to marry him one day. It's just what it was. And watching him there, I was like, he's like the coolest person in the world. Like, I want to be this person. So yeah, that's a bit of insight to me. Hence why I turned out how I did.
So it kind of curtails my next sort of question, because try to understand sort of how you tick with wrestling. So were the Hardys kind of your favourites then?
Yeah, absolutely. It was always there. I mean, going back in it, there's always that debate if you're an Austin or a Rock guy, and I think I was always an Austin guy when it came to that, because it just one because he kind of looked like my dad, which always made me laugh because his bald got a goatee. Yeah, so it was my dad who's doing all the wrestling, and I thought that was just the wildest thing. But it was always the Hardys, and that was why like my first tattoo was the Hardy Boys shield, because there was anything I wanted, nothing kind of stuck. Oh, I hit my own mic. Nothing ever stuck, but the Hardy Boys symbol always came back to mind as soon as I got brave enough to do it. I was like, nah, it has to be a Hardy Boys symbol. That's the one I'm getting. But no, it was always them. I dressed up as Jeff for Halloween. One year, thankfully, no photos exist of it. I was always the guy who'd climb up on stuff because I wanted to be Jeff Hardy, and we were doing like, I suppose, backyarding, it would be called. But it was at school. There was like a concrete square stairway, and we used that as our wrestling bit. And I was always Jeff because I would climb up on stuff. So yeah, it was always Jeff would be my guy.
Right. We need to talk about backyarding, right? So, were you always Jeff Hardy, or did you ever have your own character?
Backyarding, I didn't do it for a long time, but I was always Jeff Hardy. E-fedding, I had my own character, but backyarding, I was always generally Jeff, because again, I was also small, which is what I'm not now, and I was small and light, so all the bigger kids could throw me about quite easily as well. So yeah, I was always like, I was always Jeff when I was being the wrestler out at school. But no, outside of that, no, I had my own character.
Right. So we can't. Is Keely stuck, or is she just permanently in that face?
No, it's stuck. Give me a minute.
I just thought you were really, really confused by what Billy was saying there.
I thought you just had a really distaste for e-fedding.
Yeah. Well, that's like, I was going to reference your face there, but yeah.
Like, everything stopped working. Give me a minute.
Well, anyway, while Keely's fixing that, we need to talk about the EFED and stuff. And that this is now gone off script. I need to know about this, right? So, What was your character? What were you doing essentially?
Funnily enough, this is not the first time I spoke about it this week. I had a chat with Sharky Fossil, and we ended up speaking about e-fedding. And it was right. It was a terrible name, and I'm very aware it was a terrible name, and I wasn't aware how terrible it is. And when I say it, Kaylee's face will probably do that again. That it stuck as. I was called the Bean.
Sorry.
I was 14, and I was not aware of all that stuff. Of it was a, I don't know how to put this diplomatically, a lady part, and I was called the Bean. I had a website at one point, which again is down, is not there anymore. It was called Remember the Bean .tk, because I wasn't paying for a domain, and it was. And I was like, I made myself in like the old SmackDown games as well, and I was like this kind of clown. Kill's back, excellent. I was like this clown. I had a red cut-off shirt, jean shorts, blue hair, and a painted up clown face, which is weird because I'm scared of clowns. So I thought this is a good idea. Yeah, so the Bean was my EFED name.
Right, but why I'm not getting any correlation between your outfit and the Bean.
I don't know. That's just what happened. My promos weren't even particularly clown-like either. It's just that was the look I went for. I hated promo thing because it was always I always thought I did an excellent job at promo writing, and then this someone who didn't even have a gimmick name. They were like Homicide or Hernandez or some actual wrestler, and they would put in a weak effort and they would win, and I'd be like, oh, fuck this. This is politics at play here. It must be friends of the promoter on Bebo, who's running Hellacious Wrestling Federation is what it was called, the one I was on. But no, I spent far too much time writing promos, e-fedding, and for very little to no reward, because it's e-fedding. You don't win anything at e-fedding except there's nothing. You don't win anything at e-fedding.
This is so funny. Also, I'm gutted that my whole camera and everything just broke down for a second, because that's something really fun I wanted to tell you. So I'm going to go back a second. We'll take it back. Basically, I wanted to say everything you were saying about like Jeff Hardy and all that, it made me laugh, hence why my face probably froze. It was because I was like, we were both very similar. I too was obsessed with the Hardys, always loved their emblem. I too have dressed up as Jeff Hardy, which is even weirder for me, I think, to say so. There's not photos of me doing it either, unfortunately, but I get it all. Like, that was all fun. That's what I wanted to basically say. And also, whenever I tried to make my own backyard league, which was just me fighting with other boys in our scheme, basically, on a trampoline, and I was always Jeff Hardy, because I wasn't feared to climb the poles of the trampoline and try and swanton on them. How my neck's not broke, I don't get.
At least you had long hair to go with it. Because I always had short hair until I decided to grow it out eventually, but and it didn't really go that far. It kind of stopped growing round about here, and everything else grew out. And so I took a skull mask, like a plastic one that had hair on it, and I cut it in half, and I stapled it to just a cap, so the hair would come out the back.
I thought you were going to say your head, and I was going to be like, what?
No. So I had a cap on, and my mate had a Hardy Boys cap. He wouldn't let me borrow it, arsehole, because I thought it was purple and it had the red Hardy Boys symbol on it. But so I just had to go with a plain black one or something. And then I used support bandages you get for like supporting your elbows, cut them up. My mum gave me a pair of tights, which on like reflection, it's probably a bit weird, but my mum gave me a pair of her tights, and I cut them up, and I think I was 12, 13 when I did it.
Okay.
So old enough to maybe it's okay, but if I did it any older, it's a bit weird.
That's fair. I get you. I did a back-to-back. It was like P6 and P7. 1 year I went as Lita. 1 year I went as Jeff Hardy. People thought I was the same person, but was still confused who the hell I was. They were like, why are you just dressed as a mad goth? And I was like, don't you know? And we had to do like Halloween parades in school. You had to go around and then do your thing and be like, who are you? So of course I'd be like, I'm Jeff Hardy. and everyone would be like, "We're not talking to her," which is quite funny.
I mean, fun and all, right? But Kaylee, we missed your reaction to the bean, right? So I need to know your opinion on that name.
Yeah, no, I heard that and I thought, I don't know if you want my honest reaction. Like, why the fuck were you called the Bean?
Name. It was a terrible name.
Yeah,
because it's like you get Billy Bean, and that's quite funny and all cute and all that kind of stuff. So I thought,
cute.
Billy Bean, and then the Bean, that'd be cool. And yeah, it didn't go well. I'm fairly certain the website is still not active. Remember the Bean.
You were named after a
The
baked
bean.
bean. Like, I feel like there's, like, in the nicest way, there's no reason that I could see you be called as it like the Bean. I'm a big fan of of Branston's, but you don't see me naming myself as.
No, the annoying thing about all that was it was it was a school project. And that's again how Remember the Bean came about, because we were supposed to like make a catchy website title or something.
Okay.
Yeah, some blog. And I said Remember the Bean. And I thought that's quite funny, quite memorable. Everyone will go, oh, what's the bean? It's like that puzzles joke in How I Met Your Mother. It's like, why puzzles? That's the puzzle. So why the bean? Well, you'll remember it. And the plan was, my idea was it was going to be baked beans, background. It'll be hilarious in my head.
Okay.
Again, I was about 14. And then I won the naming competition thing, and they made the website, and they used fucking kidney beans as the background, and it fucking annoyed me so much. I made my own website. Yeah, I was like, why kidney beans? This is ridiculous. And then, yeah.
Also, without context, this sounds like it would be for sex ed class rather than for just a standard class. Remember the Bean?
That should be the point. Folk pointed out that this is not a good idea, and then that's how the Bean came about. And I was like, oh, that's my wrestling name, like The Rock. Miz Miz wouldn't have been about at that point, but you got like the Miz and the Bean.
WrestleMania X7, My Way playing in the background. Austin versus the Bean.
This is why that when I don't do a lot of like ad hoc outside of results and reviews on my own site, because my fancy ideas are not very good. And this is how it turns out when I think of the Bean as my wrestler name.
Did you ever like rebrand or branch out or
I tried
have a faction, which could have been like the Breakfast Club?
I had a faction in the old Leaf wedding, but it was my mate Craig who had the cool hat. He went just with Craigie, add the Y to the end of his name. So I thought mine was at least imaginative, even if it was like a part of a vagina. Yeah, we were B and C. That was our wee tag team name. I was the Bean, and he was Craigie.
Oh my god!
Imagine.
Hey, did you ever have anything like this? Because I had a name, but I want to see if you had one before I share mine.
I didn't. I mean, I had names like when I made my creative wrestlers and stuff like that, but nothing really exciting. Now, I do have a memory, right? So, my first wrestling game I ever played was No Mercy on the N64, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because my uncle had it, right? So when I was at his, I would play it, right? And he had a created character on the game who I just thought was like an actual character in the game. And it wasn't until years later I realized what this meant. But his character was called the Ham Shanker. And he was just this like big guy with like a plaid shirt. And I genuinely think, because I've got the N64 here, right? I think if I was to load it up and like use the cartridge pack on it and like you open that save, he'd still be there. It was brilliant.
I wonder if you can use it though, because I remember like see all my old Game Boy games, all the batteries have corroded, so nothing saves on them anymore. So you might not actually be able to save it, but we should try it. Fair. You can pay someone in town who will like restore and get you new batteries and stuff if you really want to.
I feel like you don't need to use consoles anymore. Like you just emulate things. The consoles are just there for decoration. You just use an emulator now. That's how it works. But yeah, the Ham Shanker, that's up there with the Bean. The Bean and the Ham Shanker would have probably went well together, actually.
I'm kind of worried now I've said this out loud that I mean, I think I've only got like 2 more wrestling shows to go before, I become a dad. So I think I might only get called out once in real life.
The Bean.
But yeah, and we all know I'm very awkward with people in real life. So to have like Brad Evans or someone shout the bean at me, I'm going to be very confused and I don't know what to do. I'll just be like, yeah.
Think of all the possibilities though. You've got like beware of the bean.
There you go.
Be more
Beaner.
bean.
Yeah.
You're getting on board with
Bean.
this.
Like so many. I now want you to just embrace it. Like take it, embrace it. This is your thing now. This is you. This is what you need to be. But like I said, I find it fascinating though, because again, like I was saying, me and all my friends tried to make up fun names, but most of them would just create like what they were. Never the bean. If that got brought up, that might have made a different conversation. Do I know what mine was? And right, it's really bad looking back on now, but I thought I was dead creative and dead artsy with it. Mine was kaleidoscope, right?
Okay.
How bad's
Right.
this? Because I thought that I see everything differently. Because you know how a kaleidoscope's all different? Yeah.
That's deep.
I had a tagline and I thought I was going to come out with, okay, and this was in my back garden or trampoline, right? But I was like, this goes somewhere. I wanted like smoke and everything was like distorted as you came out, and it was like, oh, spooky. And you never knew what I was going to do. That was my gimmick.
Yeah.
That's still better than the bean.
No, I'm now, I slagged it earlier on. The more I hear it, the more I'm liking it. It's starting to like cement a bit. So
Thing is, there's an alternate universe somewhere where Billy, you've stepped foot in like a wrestling training school, became a wrestler, and called yourself the Bean, and you're like on shows.
There is, but if it was like WrestleZone or that, I was here maybe in the mosh pit and Dino went through his failed names. I feel like the bean wouldn't have got past, or it would have done, depending on how much of a dick I am at training, how far it would have gotten. I'd be on a show called The Bean, because they all thought I was a bit of an arsehole and just went, aye, he can go out like a fanny.
Do you know what we need now? Right. So, and this might be Kelly's point. So, you know how WrestleZone have like Super Executioner, the Sistos, right? These sort of anonymous gimmicks, right?
Mm-hmm.
The new one, the Bean, comes in a Bean outfit.
No, you ready? Even better. This just came. Do you know what we need to do? We're going to have a documentary style, right? We're going to get like so many weeks. We're going to give you wrestling training. You're going to have a payoff. Do you know what the documentary's going to be called? Bean and Gone. Right?
Oh.
This is it. You're going to go through. Like you just, whoever wants to get on the blower, I'll sort this out. This is what I do.
Where were you when Billy was cutting his promos? And
The behind the scenes is called Finding the Bean, and it's sold in a different market.
Oh god, that's beautiful. I love. I didn't expect the fun to come from that question, but there we are. There we are. So getting back to sort of how you got into wrestling from the Bean. So like obviously you were big into wrestling if you're doing E-Feds and all that sort of stuff, but you're obviously not from a wrestling stronghold. You know, you're from essentially the middle of nowhere. Right? No offense to Elgin, but you know,
no, all offense. I mean, grew up in Rothes. It's more.
Even worse. Even worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how did you discover Scottish wrestling? Like how did that come about?
Right. It's a bit of a roundabout story, but I was down. Where was it? Not Finecty, because that's up here. What's the other one called? It's not Fin something. Anyway, there's no importance to the story. I was walking around the town on a holiday, and I saw a poster for Scottish Wrestling Entertainment Hell for Lycra 8, I think it was. And on the poster had Shannon Moore, Sonny, and Ted DiBiase. And I saw it, and we're going, oh, we could maybe go to that because it was in Perth or Dundee or something like that. And I thought nothing more of it. That was kind of went by the by. And of course, the Facebook algorithm somehow picked all this up. So about a year later, looking on Facebook, a poster came up for SW Hell for Lycra 9. And it had Tatanka, Chavo Guerrero, Ted DiBiase again, and Roddy Piper. And it was in Perth. And I thought, fuck, I can go to that. I'll meet Roddy Piper. That's going to be the coolest thing ever. Yeah. And I got my mate. He was going to tag along. And he was going to tag along. He was going to be my co-driver. He was going to like keep me awake and everything. fucker fell asleep as soon as I got out of Elgin, prick. And so I had to drive all the way to Perth to see the show. Before that, I'd asked for my tickets, ordered them. They never arrived, and I just bought a general admission. Never arrived, and I emailed them, and they said, "Oh, it was sent by Royal Mail tracked." So I emailed them again. I think it was David.Low at, and went, "Oh, have you got the Royal Mail tracker address?" And I could just check it myself. And he went, "Oh no, I can't give that out." I went, "Well, if you can't check where the tracking address is, what's the point of this? What's the point of sending it that way?" And so this went back and forth. I'm not a very heated person. I'm not really someone who gets angry, but I was getting really fucking snippy in these emails to him, and he was getting a bit snippy back to me. And eventually I got there, and this fat lad, long hair, gave me an envelope and it had front row tickets in it. So I was like, we upgrade, awesome. Yeah, and then, then I went to that show and turned out he was in the main event against Tatanka, of all people. No, I wasn't the main event, but it was like one of the big events, big matches on the show.
Yeah.
My Scottish wrestling career or journey started with me in an email argument with Braveheart. I think that's kind of told the story from there.
It's one way to start, isn't it? It's one way to start. So, like, were you aware of like the more northeast stuff, like WrestleZone, and like I know some promotions can't be your way. Like, were you aware of that at the time you were going to SW, or was it always just kind of SW at this point?
The weirdest thing was when I was going down to that Hell for Lycra in Perth at the Dure Centre. I drove past a sign that said WrestleZone in Lossiemouth, and it was that same Saturday. And like it's that sliding doors thing. I could have just went, "Oh fuck, I'm not going down to Perth. I'll just go to this one in Lossiemouth instead." And I think that was one of the last ones they did in Lossie as well. So I wasn't totally aware of a scene or anything like that. It was after that show where I started going, "Oh, what else is about here?" And I saw the ICW stuff on YouTube, like their Vice documentary. But my only prior any live wrestling experience outside of going to WWE shows in Aberdeen was a tribute show in 2001. And my only memory of it was Mankind, and a guy kept jumping onto the apron and he got punched by Mankind in the main event. That's my only memory of it. It was so bad that even my dad took me. He thought, "I'll be cool, be fine, go take him to the wrestling." And he said afterwards, "I'm going to take you that shit again." So clearly went well, as a show in general. But no, Scottish wrestling, I didn't know much about or any of it until after I went to that show in Perth.
You didn't have a good start, did you? Like your first actual show you went to, you had this whole tribute with guys getting punched. The second one, you had to have a whole ram raids just to get there. Like it wasn't smooth sailing. So the fact that you kept going, clearly you were into it.
Yeah, I mean Chavo Guerrero, the year before, it was somehow I wasn't drunk or anything. I was just being a bit of a dick on Twitter, and I listed 10 reasons why Chavo Guerrero is an arsehole. And he blocked me on Twitter, rightfully so. And I think I didn't get far before he blocked me, but I know some of the reasons for things like leeching off his uncle's career was one of them. And I knew he wouldn't know who I was, but I met him. He was really nice, and I felt really bad about it. After that, I felt bad about it quite quickly after I did the list. But you know, when you're young on Twitter, you think you're untouchable, and then you're really not.
Yeah.
You're just going to be screenshot and be called a dick forever. And thankfully, I don't think they're on Twitter anymore. So on my tweets, because I deleted that account because otherwise it'd be very awkward to dig up.
You'd be actually cancelled.
Exactly. Also, what did Chavo ever do to you that you thought you had to make a 10-part sort of like list of why you don't like him? Like,
honestly, I think it's because I really like Kerwin White. And I don't know. What? I have no idea. I have no idea why I did it. It was one of those things where I thought I was cool on the internet, and then I've grown up and realized I'm a very anxious person. So maybe not call out folk on Twitter. That would be the best thing to do in the future. So no, I've grown up since then. I can't remember how old I was at the time, but yeah, I just know Chavo blocked me because I was an absolute arsehole.
See, I've never been blocked on Twitter by a celebrity that one.
Do you know of?
Sweet Pete, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if he's Sweet Pete, but have you not been like? Don't even like the guy can get himself fucked if it's
My
not even
goal,
him,
my
right?
goal is to get Sweet Pete on the podcast as well. And you've ruined it already.
Right. Well, if he doesn't like me, then fuck himself. Have you not been blocked? You were blocked by a couple of people.
Matt Hardy blocked me.
Probably deserved it.
Well, so Billy, as a fellow podcaster, you may know TWFS, the whole fucking show. They were in around like the What Culture, Brian Zane thing, and there's a whole drama between Adam Blompe and the guy from TWFS. They were quite an interactive podcast back in the day. So like they had a thing called the Locker Room, which you think would be monetized, but it wasn't. And like you join in and they would record live and they'd have like a chat room as they were recording and like they would bounce off everyone, all that sort of stuff, right? So it was quite close knit. Sammy Guevara was actually part of it, and that's how I met Sammy Guevara online. He won't remember me at all, but I've still got some friends from that actually. So they had a feud with a Matt Hardy fan who was called, I can't remember what he was called, but he was this weird guy, this proper weird guy, and they had this big feud with him. And then Matt Hardy stuck up for the fan. And then we all were asked to tweet Matt Hardy with the phone number for the host and be like, right, go on, phone him, get on the show, come on, deal with that. And I realised that's why he's blocked me. But he unblocked me eventually, which I was confused at because he's not made a new account or anything.
Okay.
But like after a certain amount of time, I wasn't blocked anymore. So that's one. AJ Styles as well. He blocked me, but I feel like that was just because it was after he broke Lionheart's neck and he released a T-shirt saying "breaking necks, cashing checks," and I called him an arsehole for it. I don't see anything wrong with that.
That makes sense. Like I'm okay with that one, I suppose.
And that's about it. My pal once got blocked by Goldust in front of my face.
I got blocked by Goldust as well because I like Black Rain. I got blocked by him, but that I mean that's fair. That was just him being a bit of a dick about it. But you know, I said I like Black. It was nothing bad because I did. I genuinely liked Black Rain. I thought him and Relic, which is Killer spelled backwards, was the coolest thing ever. So
it says more about him, doesn't it? But my pal got blocked because we're sitting in modern studies, and he went, "I'm going to tweet Goldust and see what he says," and he tweeted him going, "Hey Gold," I say Goldberg, Caleb Gaffern that. What did I say? He said, "Hey Goldust, I love you, you big golden bastard." Was the first one, and then he tweeted him almost immediately afterwards, going, "Do you take golden shites?" And he was immediately blocked.
If he can't take a laugh with that's on him. Are you not also like blocked by like Nick Aldis?
Oh yeah, Nick Aldis as well.
But you've never tweeted him?
That one I have no idea. I've only ever tweeted about him 3 times, and it was all positive stuff about how he was really good in Impact and all that.
And he was like, "No."
But it's fine, because as we found out in the last episode,
his wife's an arsehole.
That's the thing. Every episode now, I want to mention that Mickie James is an arsehole until we get her on the podcast and confront her and ask her why you're an arsehole.
I am blocked by 2, well, no, 1 now, Scottish wrestlers that I'm aware of. I was blocked by Ted O'Keefe for a bit. That was fun.
Who gives a fuck?
Although he's not a wrestler now, is he? The other one, technically he's not a wrestler either. I'm blocked by Sean Walker. If you remember Sean Walker.
No.
From Source.
Source, yeah. I don't know why.
No, Kaylee does know him because remember he was at Chelsea's birthday. He used to have, he's the one that had the gimmick where he thought he was black, didn't he? Was essentially the gimmick. Yeah, him.
Oh, the one that told me about this for 40 minutes and I just kept going.
But no, I have no idea why he blocked me. I mean, I could probably, it was not long after those speaking out stuff, so I could probably guess that I probably said something mean about someone he likes. But I genuinely don't know why he blocked me. Ted, I kind of guess because he's a bit thin-skinned.
Who gives a
but-
fuck?
Exactly.
Well, look at this. You're still doing podcasts. He's no wrestling. 1-0. There you go.
Exactly.
Can't believe you just out with a 1-0.
It's like see at the end of the news where they show you the football scores.
Oh yeah.
Billy Strachan won. Ted O'Keefe, no.
The Bean one.
Nah, this podcast is going to be called K&K with the Bean, and everyone's going to be like, "What?"
No, that'll be the title on YouTube. It'll be like
Yeah.
Billy Strachan of SWN discusses the Bean.
Next time you come on here, you need to be in full Bean get up. This is like your new thing.
Time to get the bean juice out. Let's go.
Oh.
Moving on, right? To circle back, right? You mentioned obviously you'd been to like WWE house shows, right?
Mhm.
It's just funny because me and Kaylee were actually talking about this not long ago, like the house shows we went to. So, what was your first show? Like, what was your first WWE show?
It opened with Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch against Crime Time.
Okay.
There
Interesting.
was. I used to be able to do the order of the show, but I'm too old now to remember. But I know there was Jeff Hardy versus John Morrison, because I was so excited. And Jeff had just won the Intercontinental title that Monday, and we were seeing this on the Wednesday.
Mm.
The main event was Rated RKO with Lita against DX. That was the main event.
That'd be a good one.
There was Ric Flair and the Highlanders against the Spirit Squad, and I think maybe Lita against Victoria, maybe somewhere on there.
Who?
Okay, I'm already gutted the fact that you saw Jeff and Lita on the same show.
I'm just gonna double check because this is the sort of shit that I do have still on the website.
When was this?
Yeah.
2006, November 2006. It was
Was this in Aberdeen?
at the ACC.
Because 2006 was probably one of the few years I didn't go. 'Cause I think I'd went in 3, 4, 5, and then 2010 was the next time after that.
Right, I've got the full results, so I
There
can
we
go
go.
through them now. So Crime Time defeated Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch. Hardcore Holly defeated Rob Conway. So that means he came out with the "Just Look at Me" theme, I think, at that point, which is amazing. Intercontinental Championship was a fatal four-way. Jeff Hardy defeated Shelton Benjamin, Carlito, and Johnny Nitro with Melina.
That'd been a good match.
It was Ace Hus Swanton Bomb. I think I was at 16 at that point. I think I just my pants. Tori Wilson and Mickie James, the arsehole, defeated Lita and Victoria.
Arsehole again for
Tess-
even defeating them.
Tess defeated Tommy Dreamer. John Cena defeated Umaga, and Ric Flair and the Highlanders defeated the Spirit Squad. Sabu defeated Kevin Thorne with Ariel. So I saw Sabu on my first show.
Hold on a minute. What is this show? It's like a carnival of events.
This just made me realise Sabu has been in Aberdeen. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be a thing.
It was a Road Survivor Series, so it's like because ECW didn't get the road shows, so they had like some ECW folk on SmackDown ones, some on the Raw ones,
Oh
and
yeah.
then the main event was DX defeating Rated RKO. And my mum was really excited because Edge got like his tights pulled down, so she got to see Edge's arse. Unfortunately, that did kind of wipe out the earlier time where we saw Ric Flair's arse, so balances out.
Fair. Do you know, that sounds like an amazing show. I have a t-shirt from that era of shows, but I never went. Like I have like the DX made of like the UK / like Ireland invasion top thing that I got one time, but that sounds like a proper good show. Like
That was the
very
best.
random as well. Like seeing Umaga and Sabu in like the same show.
Thing is,
Weird.
like Aberdeen got some really, really good shows in that sort of time period, which was strange because the ACC is tiny compared to like other arenas and stuff like that. I still don't understand why they used to do it.
I went a couple times. I didn't go to the last one of that run. That was 2009. I think I was when Drew was wrestling.
Mhm.
But I got to see some. I was going to say bangers, but I'm 31. I'm not going to say that as a descriptive thing for anything. I saw things like I saw Snitsky when he was like full yellow teeth, bald head kind of style.
Yeah.
I saw Johnny Jeter when he wasn't in the Spirit Squad. He had a match. Charlie Haas when he was doing the parodies. He was Rowdy Charlie Haas because he came out dressed as Roddy
Oh.
Piper. There was some weird stuff in the Aberdeen shows, but it was the best time, and I was the type of dick that took a replica belt as well. So I held it up for William Regal to look at, and I was like bowing to him. He just looked at me and shook his head like in disgust. It was amazing.
Oh, genuinely, that sounds so fun. Do you know what's always raging though? See, when you look back nowadays to think about the cool shows you saw back then, I wish I could relive them now because I'd appreciate it way more now. Like that's what I always think about the show like the one show that I went to back in the day when I was younger was like it was so good. And I said like Eddie Guerrero and that was there, which was insane. Like Stone Cold was like special guest refereeing in my show.
That was '05, wasn't it? Because my mate went to that and he never let me down because he saw Christian as well. I never got to see Christian live.
Yeah, it was so good. The whole show was so good, but I was like, it was cool then, but I didn't get to appreciate just how amazing it was till now. And I feel like now when you go, it may be different. Like maybe in like 10 years' time, you'll be like, oh, that was so cool who I saw them. But just now, I just feel like they don't have the same like stature as they did back then.
This is the thing though, right? So see if you were a kid now and you went to a house show and saw like Roman Reigns, you'd be like, I saw Roman Reigns. But like for us, we're like, it's Roman Reigns, isn't it? He's all right, isn't he?
True. That might be it.
So like, it's strange because like I think that generation, for us at least, and by the sound of things, Billy, you're probably the same. It's like that era of wrestlers are kind of like the superstars to us. Do you know what I mean? Like that's who you really think about is like, oh, they were the best. And it's just because you're in that sort of time frame, which is weird. And also, this has made me realise I don't think I've ever seen Jeff Hardy wrestle. And I'm not happy about that because I've seen almost everyone.
I've not saw Jeff Hardy wrestle. And you know something? I've not saw him in this country either.
Well, that's his fault for a while. So
I saw Matt the next year as well. So I've kind of seen a trifecta of Team Extreme Wrestling live, but I've only met one of them. Actually meet them. But when those shows, the last one I went to, I really wanted to go. It was one of the first times I came back after a long time, and because it's AJ Styles against Dean Ambrose, I really wanted to see AJ Styles wrestle. So I was like, I had to go. I think Kelly had like something wrong with her. She had a bad infection. She was supposed to go with me, and didn't. So I drove through to Aberdeen, ACC by myself to go watch the show by myself. Had an empty seat next to me, and then I looked to the right, and the next block over there was Mr. P, William Sterling. Scotty Swift, I think, was there, and it was just such a weird time because they all looked at me and went, oh, yeah. And I was like, yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing in real life? Go away. Yeah. Leave me alone.
Well, that's the thing. Like things like that have happened. Like so, see when we went to, it was the NXT UK tapings they did in Glasgow, and it was just full of just indie wrestlers from Glasgow, just in the crowd, and you're like, this is so strange. Like it's, and then the weirdest part was seeing John Briley, one of the owners of Progress, just cutting about in a suit backstage. Like he just kept walking about the crowd with a wee suit because he's like a producer or something. Yeah. This is just very strange.
Because they did it there, but also when they had like Raw and SmackDown in the Hydro, mostly for Raw, and I didn't have brilliant seats. I was kind of like up in one of the tiers, and sitting there, I could see just people like milling around, and it was kind of like playing Where's Wally. Me and my friend Gary were like, oh, there's so and so, oh, there's so and so, oh, there's like. And it was so strange, especially when you see like other like indie wrestlers like being in the crowd. It's just it's like a weird sensation because you're not used to that. So
bunch of marks.
We all are at the end of the day. So
yeah, I mean the wrestlers are the biggest marks because they actually went and do some wrestling.
Yeah.
So
true. So obviously, like we spoke briefly about going to SWE and all that sort of stuff, and you started noticing Scottish wrestling, going to shows. So how did like the website come around? Like how did that become a thing? Like wanting to write about Scottish wrestling and all that sort of stuff.
Right. So it started initially as it was supposed to be like an online YouTube magazine show kind of thing, and because I was only really aware of SWE and ICW at that point, I really only it was like an hour long. Thankfully, none of them are online anymore because they were not great. I mean, stuff I do now is not particularly enthralling, but you know, it was in a magazine show about an hour long. I'd talk about SWE, I'd play one of their promos and that. So it was called OSW TV because I was part of an online community called Old School Wrestling Chat, which again is something I've talked about very recently on an episode that's coming out. The other mod on it was a guy called Davin Malloy, and Jay Hunter was the other one who went to OSW Review. And so I did that. I did that for a bit. Like once a month, I'd record something on my PlayStation 3 using iCreate, edit it together using iCreate, and uploaded it via the PS3. And eventually I thought, right, I'll make a website. Well, no, it wasn't even that. A guy, Iron Drew Marshall. So you would have probably seen him in the last Respect show you went to.
Yes.
He contacted me and said, "Do you want to do interviews? And if you do, I'll do one." And I wasn't aware. I didn't know who he was because why would I? This is very awkward. I sipped my beer and it kind of spilled over, so I'm just sorting that well. Anyway, right. So Aaron Drew Marshall contacted me. Want to do an interview? Said he'll do one if I want to do it. Fine, cool. Still no. I think it's still on the site. We did that. I put it on Facebook because I had a Facebook page for old school OSW TV. And then eventually I was like, can I just put this on like a one place? Just put it on a website. So I created a WordPress, put it on there, and I thought, right, I'll do some more. And I kind of set out maybe like 5 to 10 set questions I'd ask everyone, and just sent it to everyone that I knew in SWE. Sent it to them, and then eventually I just started pestering other wrestlers for it. So there was a whole series of interviews called OSW TV Meets, and there's some ones you might not like. I don't know if they're still on there, but there's some that you might not expect to be on there. I got like Kaza G, who went on to be Session Moth Martina. I got like Sammy Jane, who's now Emerson Jane. I got quite a few like names that have went from like they're just starting out when I spoke to them, and now they're big deals. I got some nonsense, but there was always a chance. That I mean, some of them are on different registers for different reasons, but so they weren't all good, but or all successful. But I started doing that, and then because I went to more SWE shows, I thought, I'll do a bit. I'll write about my experience going to them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it spiraled. And then I kind of struck up a friendship with Andy at Wrestle Ropes, and he took results from us, and we posted them on our site. But before that, I did like a 5-minute portion on Indie Corner for 3 episodes on their podcast, because the directive was, do you want us to talk about Scottish wrestling? Yes. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Send it to this address. Okay. How long do you want it? About 5 minutes. All right. And that was it. I haven't actually listened to the episodes. They're in our place that's blocked me. I think it's just because I'm affiliated with was affiliated with Wrestle Ropes when it was about. But yeah, so that's how it started. Anyway, it was Q&As, and somehow it's spiraled from there.
That's really cool. Like the fact that you've taken it a whole place from there. Like, I think that's really interesting. I love hearing people like where they start from to where they get to now. I'm just a bit weird like that. Like, so yeah.
It's quite fascinating because again, I think that's the thing. Like, because I mean, we'll sort of transition into the podcast, but I think now you're probably more known for the podcast now than like the actual site, which is strange to me because obviously I knew you through the site and like, oh, that's Billy from West. I mean, the first time I met you, you were the guy with the belt. Because I don't know if you've still got it, but I don't know if Kaylee knows this, but Billy used to have an OSW TV belt.
I don't have it anymore. It was spray painted gold, and Brent Carter won it in the Day of Birth Bonanza, which I couldn't call Billy's Birthday Bash because Mickey Vagel put out an episode the month before called Mickey's Birthday Bash.
Oh, because he did the photo with it, didn't he?
He did the Shawn Michaels photo with it. Yes, he did. And
I've not saw this.
He is planning. We're planning to have him defend it on the episode that will go out for the finale on July 1st. He'll be defending the title.
I love it. Yeah, because that's what I remember you having that belt and being like, okay, that's a guy with a belt.
Oh, fucking nerd. Look at him.
Because I think I'm trying to think of what show that would have been, because I didn't go to much shows before I knew who you were. Yeah. Because I think I went to the first Anarchy at the Ballroom, which I know you went to that. Mm-hmm. Did you have the belt at that show?
Not that I remember. There's only 2 times I remember taking it to shows. Well, not even to shows. I remember taking it to one in Nairn, because Alan Sterling grabbed it and hit someone with it and shouted, "Look, this guy has a toy belt." That convinced me to stop taking it with me.
Yep.
And the other time was when I met Roddy Piper, the second time when he came to Inverness, and fuck, it's ruined the photo that I have with him, because every time I look at it, I go, why? Why did you take that with you? So that's the only 2 times I remember taking it with me, but there's a possibility I took it to an Aberdeen Anarchy.
It might have been. You might have not had the belt, and I've just mixed up so many memories in one. But yeah,
I just think though. See, just taking that back a minute, the fact that you get people that take belts to shows is one level of person, but someone taking their own personal belt to shows is like a whole new type of fan. Like, I always believe if you take it, you should defend it.
That's why I've stopped taking the belts, because I find that seems to be coming as a threat and a rule, that if you take a replica belt, the only times I would take a belt now would be if I wanted someone to sign it. So if I was going to an Anarchy, and that's why I've got the European belt behind me, signed by the Hurricane and DDP, because I went to a show they were on and I got it signed.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I wouldn't take a belt to a show now, because I'm grown up.
You feel as well that you're like, I couldn't defend it. Like, I was happy for anyone to try and defend my belt when I took it to Liverpool, but no one was game.
That's the thing, because there was a belt collector at For Love of Wrestling that had a full an insane collection. Like, they had the old ROH title, they had the AEW title, they had all the WWE titles, and the NWA, the big gold, so many. New Japan, the New Japan title as well. And I was like, that's cool, right? But it's a lot of money to spend on things that socially you can only keep in your house.
Yeah.
One or two, fair enough. But see, that level, how do you display all those?
Well, what put me off taking the European belt to shows was I took it to my first W3L one, and it was in Elgin. And I've never felt more anxious and terrified because I was wearing it. Because of course I was. I had my hoodie on top of it. So I was old. I was 23 when I did this. So again, old enough to know better. And that was a very anxious walk between the Elgin Town Hall to my flat, because I was like, if someone stops me and it tries to notices it, I'm not going to be able to defend it. I will be battered and I will lose it. So that was one of the last times I took it. That was also the same show I bought a Sin Cara mask that I ended up losing in Dundee. I'm not very good with my money.
That's a very story, but see, off the back of that though, I have a question. So people wear them differently. See, since you're a belt collector, how do you wear your belt? What's your go-to wearing pose round here? Is it over one shoulder? Is it how do you do it? What's your go-to?
Over right shoulder.
Okay.
I'm a classic man like that. Sometimes I'll flip it the bottom bit up. So how Jeff Jarrett used to wear it in TNA, the NWA belt.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do that, but no, that's how I like to wear it. That's why when I look at it's such an irrational thing that I get peeved by. But when I see fans getting pictures taken when they're wearing the belts, and not that they're wearing them wrong, but I'm like, you've watched wrestling long enough to know that's not how you hold a belt. It's like when you were talking about folk getting into the ring. That's another thing that peeves me when I watch it. I'm going, you've watched wrestling long enough. You should know how to get into a ring.
Exactly. I don't get it. Also, when you say wear it over your shoulder, now, do you clip the belt or do you keep it free hanging?
Free hanging. That's my preferred option. I feel like if I have it clipped, it kind of bows the actual strap itself. And because I haven't got the re-strap, they're just cardboard in the middle anyway. So I try to keep them as nice as possible, which is annoying because the Undisputed belt is so bulky that if I have it like that, it does kind of bend. But if I can't put it on my wall because
true.
Because I'm lucky to have it out. That's what I'm saying there. But all other places it's on the floor. I don't want to have it on the floor, so I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
That's the compromise. It's kind of a little bit bowed, but
yeah,
it's fine. A couple an hour or so over the shoulder, and then it's all fixed.
See, I totally get you. I like to clip it just because I talk a lot with my hands. I am always moving about, and if not, it just flaps and I feel like it would hit someone or it would fall off, etc. So I wear it like a handbag and hold it.
Fair.
But that's just me.
Right.
Kyle, you don't have a say on it, do you?
No.
You don't really wear belts.
No, I do not have any. I mean, I would like to, but my issue is my favorite belt's like the niche ones. Like the only WWE belt I'd probably get would be the Big Eagle, but they only sell them now with the WWE logo on it, not the WWF logo. So I'd have to get like it made from like one of those, or I'd get an old one, which are very expensive now. Other than that, maybe actually the North American title, I like that one. That's really about it. But then I've always wanted the Ring of Honor, like not the original one, the one that like Adam Cole kind of wore a lot. That one.
Okay.
That's kind of like my favorite belt ever. But yeah, those ones are expensive, I guess. But
I wish I could have justified. Remember when Pride Wrestling shut?
Yes.
And they put their belt on eBay for £300. I wished that I could I had the expendable income to just buy it.
Yeah.
Just because that would have really kind of dug into me being a bit of a Scottish wrestling nerd. It would be having one of the belts from Pride. But that's why I got my only belt I got as a gift. I got my Undisputed title. That was the first one I got. I got for my 18th birthday. It was the coolest thing ever. It wasn't the WWE title I wanted. I wanted the Big Eagle, the actually other one. But I was still thankful I had a belt. So there's so many pictures. Again, not online. They were on Bebo, of me posing with it when I had hair, and I had it streaked blonde as well. So, and I didn't realize until after about 15 photos in that I needed to put the nameplate on. So I put the nameplate on. It's just a blank one. And then after that, eBay was my friend. I got the cruiserweight for 80, and I got
really good.
And I got the European WWF plated for 120, I think it was. So again, I had a lot of all I was paying for at that point was digs and petrol. That was all I needed to pay for. So I was like, I'm buying all the fucking belts.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing. Like belts, like genuinely, I wish I could have more, but they're so expensive.
Mhm.
The two that I would like to get next, because I've got the women's one, they did like a China's version, like a kind of like they made one. It's got like China stuff all over it, which is really cool. It was never obviously real, but I think it's really interesting. But I really want the UK title, just because I like how it looks. I would think that'd be really cool to have, and then I could live out my Pete Dunne fantasies. So I just think the belt looks really nice. That sounded dodgy how I said that.
Say,
but I didn't
yeah,
mean
I was
like that.
I'm moving on from that.
I also ordering Kyle a singlet, a maroon singlet as well.
Mate, I would order Pete Dunne if he would come to my gaff, but apparently that's not okay. No, but genuinely, I think that'd be so cool to like just have that belt, because like I think it's the nicest belt that they've made in the last like so many years. That and the North American are the two that stand out. Everything else is a bit garbage. So
yeah.
I think it's cool.
So before we started nerding out about belts, we're talking about obviously the site and how it came about, but now obviously podcasting is kind of like your big thing, that everyone kind of probably knows your face for. So how did that even start? Like, how did that really come out? Obviously, you said you started with like the YouTube sort of stuff, but how did it transition into this podcast?
So I did some recording. I did hospital radio for a bit, which I liked, but there's so many because hospital radio, there's so many songs you can't play, and I kept forgetting that. So I did that for a bit, and because I did that, I interviewed some folk. I think what was it? No, actually, that's a lie. The first interview I did that I remember was with Michael. Well, now Michael Chase, who was Mikey at the time, and Rollins, who turned out to be some fucking serial killer name. I can't remember what it is. Sean Mercer. I did it on my phone. So I had recording equipment because I was doing an MFR course. That was it. I was doing a radio course in MFR, so they let us have recording equipment to take home. And I was like, fuck, I could just phone these guys, put the recorder next to it. Done. So I did that. I quite enjoyed it, but it was I didn't enjoy it enough to keep doing it. So I did a couple other ones. I did one live on the radio with our good pal Braveheart. Did one there as well. Which was about Hell for Lycra. I did another one as well. And then it was kind of, the plan was it was going to be me and a name that Kyle knows well. It was me and Kevin Morrison. We're going to do a podcast, and we're going to talk about going to shows, we'll do reviews and all that kind of stuff. And then it kind of fizzled out. mainly because he just didn't want to, well, I don't know if he didn't want to do it, he just didn't really make effort to do it.
Sounds right.
So then I was doing hostel radio, and W3L was coming to Elgin, and I contacted Mike Musso, and I was like, I do a hostel radio thing. Do I do a giveaway? We'll do a bit of an interview. And then so I did that. It was fine. It was about 5 minutes long. Anyway, there's a long story short. I did all that. Didn't quite enjoy it. I wasn't taken to it. And then when the pandemic started, I was like, right, I've got no results. I think I've reviewed everything I can at that point. There was no more Scottish shows to watch, except if I wanted to watch WWE Retribution on a VHS copy. Probably all I had left. And then I was like, fuck it, I'll try this Zoom thing and do some interviews. So I don't know why I picked Omar Mohammed as my first guest.
What a great first choice.
It's just something about him. I think it was mainly because we kind of struck up a little bit of a friendship after I'd mercilessly fucking tore him apart in my W3L Action Academy review. I watched it.
You.
It was fucking terrible. It was one of the worst shows I've ever watched on YouTube. And I think it's still on YouTube. I don't know why. It's one of those ones where I reviewed it. I was not very complimentary about anything. And Johnny Lyons was on the show, and he came up to me at a wrestling show not long afterwards. I thought, oh fuck, it's Johnny Lyons, and he came to me and went, I have no idea why Mike put that on YouTube, and you're absolutely right in everything you put. And I was like, oh, that's fine. Johnny says it's okay. I'm all right with it. Anyway, yeah, I mocked Omar's shoes. That was the kind of crux of it all, because he had trainers and kick pads on, but there were Converse and kick pads on.
No.
That's
like the guy we saw who had the Vans and kick pads.
It's
Why
wrong.
do people keep doing this?
Yeah, wrestling boots are cheaper. Just get wrestling boots.
So I don't know why. Like I said, I don't know why I picked him as my first, but I contacted him. Sounds very romantic. I picked him as my first. So I contacted him. He was up for it, and how it goes. And we did. The plan was to do 30 minutes, talk about wrestling. Done. That's it. Done. Over. So I did that. This was arranged about a week before Speaking Out happened.
Oof.
So that was a
Good
great
chose
time.
him.
Oh, absolutely. That was a bit of a terrifying time. And I was really waiting. I wasn't waiting on like going, oh, Omar gonna be next, but I was like, please don't be Omar. It comes up in these things. So I spoke to him. Great. It went kind of well. I recorded it in my kitchen because the fridge was behind me in the video, and kept it about 30 minutes, 33 minutes. I was all right with it. Put it out. Did okay. Next one was Zach Leon, and who wrestled in SWE, but he'd kind of moved to Fair City. Interviewed him about 35 minutes. Fine. And then the next one was Kevin Williams, who goes by our name in certain circles, but I will respect his wishes to never be called that name again, even though everyone will know what it is. I spoke to him, and this went fucking haywire because my dog arrived with a squeaky toy. Want to play with. And I'd left the front door open so she would just piss off, and then a fucking ice cream van arrived. So I'm recording in my living room, and it's like, do you see that TikTok where it's got the pub and it's got the wifey with the blonde hair dancing, and then the midget turns up, and then the old man's there. That's how it felt like as I was like recording, as the dog came in squeaking, and then the fucking ice cream truck arrived, and I was like going, this is terrible. But that's kind of how the podcast went at that point. It went a bit. I didn't even do research at this point. I didn't do research till episode 20 or something like that. So I went with my memory only, and we thought, I'll have a quick nice chat. And I did all that only till the episode with Sarah Marie Taylor is when I decided I need to do research on these things, because that was the one I blanked on. But podcast itself, it was deemed because I couldn't do anything else, so I started it during the pandemic.
Yeah, and that actually brings us on to an interesting question, because when I asked the first one, you're going to know what the second one is. But like, what's your favorite podcast you've done so far? Like, what is your? I know it's hard to choose, but what is like your best one?
Best one. I really, I'm not saying it because you're on here, but I really enjoyed doing the Wrestle Ropes one. I did for the first year anniversary of the podcast. I really enjoyed doing that because it was a bit different because I wasn't speaking to a wrestler. We were just having a chat between the three of us
Yeah.
and having a good time. As far as like actual wrestler guests, I love all the chats I've had with Scotty.
Yep.
Because they just never go the way I think they're gonna go. They just kind of.
No.
I bring up something and he'll bring up something else, and I'll answer something about it, and then he just goes off in like a 20-minute chat about it, and I just sit there watching it, and that's amazing. I loved the episode with Johnny Lyons as well. That was another episode I'm really proud of. Ian Skinner's probably another favorite I had out there, but there's so many because I've recorded so many. But the second one I did, Ian, was because he came to me with the idea of it, going, I want to do something like what's his name, Andre, something,
Eric Andre.
Eric Andre. I want to do something like that. So he told me not to prepare anything, and he would prepare the questions.
Honestly, that was so chaotic that I loved it. Like, that is my energy.
That's the cucumber one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. When it blew his mind about a cucumber, yeah. Again, this is not good for out of context stuff, but it was the fact that my internet died halfway through it, and then there is a good 10-15 minutes that's missing because he kept talking, and I couldn't interrupt him. Kept trying to interrupt him because I was trying to tell him, your screen's frozen, my screen's frozen, my computer needs to go off to restart, and he kept talking. He just kept going. And when we came back, like I said, a good 10-15 minutes lost, he was like, right, this is a great idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that I told you the most epic story in the world.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to start when we restart again. So that's why he's in the corner, telling me the end of an epic story of someone dying, I think it was. And then I'd tell him that none of it got recorded.
That is one of my favourite interviews you've done, just because, again, I think that dynamic is so funny, mostly because Ian is like here and like all over, and you're like, what? Like, what is going on?
But I wore a hat for that episode as well. That was a little like, wild and crazy over here.
It's honestly, I love it. And again, his chaotic energy, same brainwaves as me, and I was like totally on par with it. It kept me entertained.
That's the thing, and I think that's why he's probably one of my favourite in the scene just now, is because he is like that outside of wrestling. Like that those podcasts you've done with him, he's not acting up for the camera. That's just how he is, which makes it even funnier. Do you know what I mean? That's the best part of it all. But I mean, those are some good episodes. I mean, you've got obviously the one where Scotty killed a man in one of the so you've got there's some fantastic stories. Here's the thing, right? And again, we'll kind of talk about your plans for the future. Obviously, you've got Baby Strachan coming and stuff like that. But honestly, I think you could carry the next however long you want to take your parental leave with just clips of stories that these wrestlers have told you over the last 2 years, because it is mental. Like, genuinely, some of the stories that you've been told are. You could probably just do like 6 months with Scotty alone, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? Clip that up, you're sorted.
I was so because I was trying. I think people, when they come on to my podcast, because I have the website and everything, they try to keep some sort of professionalism. Scotty just does not give a fuck, which is even better. But like the one with Aspen, which I was really nervous for, because it's Aspen, and the fact that he went so into detail on the recording of the Marty Jones story. And then I felt like it was a nice little accompaniment with the Vago one, because he kind of finished the bits that he couldn't put on my one. And I mean, I got the whole story after the recording because I needed to know everything about this. But yeah, it is weird that they do tell some wild stories, but most of the case they try to keep professional on mine, and then you go into Vagos and then they just fucking go wild with the remaining. It's a nice little dynamic, even though we're not technically affiliated, I suppose. Although I have been a guest on it, so I don't know how it works.
You technically are. Like, you've made it onto a t-shirt, and I think with the whole thing, like, you've got You're the Serious one, Vago's a bit more wild one, and that's kind of like what this is here. It's like Kyle's like, so Billy, like, tell me about me on a podcast, and I'm gonna be like, so Billy, tell me about how you were the bean. Like, do you know what I
I
mean?
knew
Like,
you were going to say that. I was like, God, you're just going to go.
I love it.
Tell me more about the bean.
Right, no, I get like fixated on things, and that is all I want to know about now. Like, honestly, I'm going to have a separate podcast, just me and you, talking about this story.
If
Like, I want it all.
I'm sure on my hard drive, which I actually have here, that this hard drive holds so many photos of regret.
Okay.
I might have screenshots on 2K of not 2K of SmackDown versus Raw of the Bean holding a belt. I think it is like red shirt, black tie. Pretty much, I liked a bit of MCR a little bit, but that's kind of the vibe I was going for with the clown character as well. So I might have it somewhere. So if I find it, I will send it to you.
Oh, do you know what you should have
excited.
done? Right. So you obviously mentioned your faction name, right? Here's a tag team for you, right? You're the Bean. You have a tag team partner called the Cheese. Bean and Cheese Melt.
That blows up what I said earlier on. I said have a load of these, like a clique called the Breakfast Club.
I like that.
I mean, we could go into 1980s WWF, and I could have an African American guy called Hash Brown. You know, it could all work.
Oh, Billy cancelled again.
I'm out. I'm tapped.
That's brilliant. So, obviously, I've asked your favourite experience in the podcast, right? And
I want the drama.
Again, you can choose not to answer this, but have you had any negative experiences on the podcast?
The guy who probably won't mention their names. You can go back and watch the episodes. I can tell you afterwards. The guy who is zoned out of a question, that's fairly up there. When I started asking a question, I saw him physically just zone out of me asking a question. That's pretty high. See, I know you're thinking I'm going to say the Shambles episode, and I enjoyed it. I just can't watch it back because it was just not. It was just I can't watch the four of us try to sing I Want It That Way back. It's not possible. But no, the episode itself I didn't mind recording. The one with Sarah Marie Taylor, or Serena Rose, I think she's going by now. That was more on me not preparing, and I was wrapping up the conversation and then went, what's your social medias? Told me, oh, what venue do you like wrestling in? And I just felt, oh no, I shouldn't have went back. I should have just stopped at that point, and then that was it. Joe Henry, only because I tried to be clever and set up a Zoom meeting instead of just sending him the link, and he kept emailing me going, "Are you in the Zoom chat?" And I was in the Zoom chat. I went, yeah, but I'm in Zoom chat too. I realized I had to click on the same link to get into the actual Zoom chat. So that was a good 15 minutes of awkwardness.
Oh.
So instead of an hour I got with him, I got 40 minutes, which I mean, I think that was fine. But no, the worst episode was the guy zoning out of an episode. That's by far my worst experience recording.
Yeah. Have you ever had any and this could be like the site as well. Have you ever had any backlash from anyone based off the content that's been on the podcast? Like, see if anyone's told a story and then someone comes for you for it. Like, is that ever happened?
No, I've been quite lucky for the podcast anyway. I think the closest I came to it was some bit tension when Yunji Maki asked me to record an episode with him, and because he was he was getting implicated in connection with someone else in this whole speaking out thing. And that was a really tense episode to record. Wasn't comfortable doing it, but I did it because he wanted to kind of tell his story and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I'll do it, but I don't feel comfortable doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also recorded, I think, the day after I watched something on the Thunderdome, so I was fucking knackered at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and then his video didn't work, so it's an episode where there's no video either, but it's on YouTube just with a picture instead. That wasn't I forgot about that till you mentioned it. So that was probably outside of the guy zoning out of a question. That was not my favorite one to record because I didn't feel comfortable doing it.
Of course, that wouldn't have been an easy time for you at all. But fair play on you. At least tell them how you feel. That's what you had to do.
On the site, interestingly enough, I got contacted by one of the then like co-coaches or maybe co-owners of a company in Livingston, who contacted me, not happy I was covering SSW. Because I'm up here in the Northeast, I don't hear any of the bad stuff. I just hear surface things. I don't get the gossip. I'm not like old Davey Meltzer getting all the goss and all that. And they contacted me and was not happy that we were covering them, and they would want their promotion pulled if we continued to. And I was like, all right, well, I'll keep doing it. I just didn't respond. Turns out the guy who messaged me then was implicated in speaking out. So you can't. It's like fucking. What is it? What's the phrase? If you're those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It's like, I contact me to remove a site, a promotion that's run by unsavory people. I ended up doing that anyway. But then be a nonce yourself. That's a bit weird. The website stuff.
Yeah.
The way I was no longer friends with anyone in SWE, that was up there. That was more the Facebook page though, because after Hell for Lycra 1 year, Randy Valentine put out a video saying he did not get paid for his match, and I posted it on our Facebook page. And this caused a whole thing of Big Braveheart having a fucking meltdown, and he kept contacting me about it and said, "Oh, next time you come down to Dundee, we'll have a chat about it." I was like, "Well, I'm not fucking going down to Dundee again." No, Jesus, no. And then he said, "If you don't take that video down, then I will contact." This is the best bit. I will contact Facebook and get your page removed.
Oh, because he's going to be on the phone being like, "Oh, hi Facebook, take this man down. Shut up."
Yeah. So I had that, and then obviously then I did the preview for 5-Star Wrestling when they were in Dundee, and that kicked off a fucking shit ton of stuff as well with the old SWE army. I think there's only like 3 of them left now. That had a army about that, and it's just there's been some stuff. This is why I don't really air my own like proper views on Twitter, because I'm nae for it. I'm nae for confrontation. I'm nae for it at all. I'll give you the facts. I'll give you the news. That's it.
This is reminding me of something, right? And the annoying thing is, that was a perfect segue into my questions about SWE, but we'll get to that because this is just springing to my mind. Didn't you have someone under a pseudonym who was like writing reviews, and it ended up, a lot of it was like around ICW and stuff, and that caused a lot of stuff?
Oh yeah, Dr. Bedlam. Yes. Yes, I did. That there was the one about I don't know how you feel about mentioning folk that were on speaking out, but that was the requiem for Chris Renfrew. That one did not go down well for a lot.
What was this all about?
I don't think I still have it. I still have it in the drafts, but it was Dr. Bedlam just pretty much calling out Chris Renfrew for pretty much fucking up all the young talent that are coming in because he was taking over the booking. That was kind of the crux of it. It's still there, yeah. October 26, 2018, the Bedlam Report, Requiem for Renfrew. I saw that got a lot of hits, and I couldn't figure out why. And I saw that there was a link kickback from UKFF, and pretty much all the quotes on that on UKFF was like, "Fuck, this guy's just went in on Renfrew," and yeah, it was a really long rant about Renfrew like dicking about and fucking up things for divers, Kings of Catch, and I think dragging BT Gun down as well. So yeah, it was not the most complimentary thing. I mean, it took me fucking ages to edit it for one, but secondly, it was not very complimentary on old Chris Renfrew.
Didn't Dr. Bedlam end up getting invited to the asylum?
Yes, Mark Dallas emailed me, or messaged the site, and invited Dr. Bedlam to the asylum for an interview. He wanted to interview Dallas.
I wish he did that. I wish there was a way to obviously hide Dr. Bedlam's identity, while doing it, and like that would have been brilliant.
But the reply from Bedlam was no.
Also,
no.
What did he think was like? This is the thing which I don't understand. What did he think was going to happen? Did he think he was going to invite them down there and then scare them into thinking that Renfrew wasn't an arsehole? Because he is.
That's it. I don't know what the end game for that was, and yeah I don't understand it. I don't understand any of these fucking promoters or that just inviting like arseholes like me that are on the internet speaking about it, reviewing, because our opinion at the end of the day, if we don't like it, fuck, put on a. People are paying to go to shows anyway, so
yeah.
What's the matter with my opinion that's going to change everything? If I was getting 1 million hits on the site, fair enough, but I don't know. So leave me into my bubble, leave me in my bubble, moaning about wrestling, and leave me alone at shows. That's pretty much all I ask.
And this is the thing: when you go to shows, right? Like, and we've noticed this as well. It's like there's obviously a few people who pay attention to like your podcast, your site, and all that sort of stuff, and like they'll reference stuff from the podcast and stuff. But the majority of people that go to shows that at least we go to are oblivious. Do you know what I mean? Like they're oblivious to even existing. So like, I mean, you don't really impact anything that major. I mean, if anything, I think the wrestlers take more interest in what you have to say than the actual fans, which is funny.
Which, you know what I think is interesting though, and I'm not saying that like what we say is gospel, right? We are just three people that just
we are geniuses.
What it is. Well, I might.
We know everything about wrestling. We're better than them.
All things.
But I think it's interesting though, because the people that listen to what you have to say, whether it's positive or negative, and make changes, it's they grow with it because they realise that this is how fans feel. And then you get the people who come back and complain about it, and they are still in the same bubble and they're still shite. So,
well, this is something I realised after our last review. And again, I'm not going to name names and all that sort of stuff, but see the people that, and you might be the same with us, but actually, kind of a lot of people like to reach out in private. Like the people who tend to reach out after you do like a review on a show or you do a podcast, or people who pull you aside to talk about it, tend to be the people who are better and more successful. But you put two and two together, I guess. You know, that's what it is. So I don't know, but
for me, for that, I've had a couple of people pull my aside after reviews. Again, it's privately, so I wouldn't mention who they are, but it's always constructive. It's like when I do a review, I try my best to, if I'm going to say something negative about it, I either offer like they could have done this, and then I kind of cement it by going, but I am just a fan. This is what I would like to see. So I mean, they could, because there is wrestlers. It was the episode with Murphy where he which went out. It went out. I put it out on YouTube and everything. When I spoke about his like performance and saying that I didn't quite get Murphy at first, and I liking this. That was before he was part of the outfit. But I was interested to see where it would go. Like he's definitely got a potential of something. And then he kind of went on about going, I don't really listen to fans' opinions. I'll listen to my coaches. Aye, but we're paying the money to come in to see you. So you kind of want to listen to some of us. Maybe not all of us, but you know, I'm not, if you're not listening to anyone, if you listen to coaches, which will be fine, you'll do your in-ring stuff. Great, excellent. But if nobody cares about you, if we're online going, I don't understand what the connection to this character is, I don't understand the completion of this, I don't understand what's happening, then I'm going to go for a piss during your match because I don't care. You're not making the effort to improve. I'm not saying that's what Murphy's doing. I'm saying on that point.
So if Billy leaves during Murphy matches, that's we know now.
I would say on that point, saying if you don't listen to anyone but your coaches, if you're not listening to any fans or taking in any criticism, then you're not going to connect with fans. You're going to do your wrestling good, but you're not going to connect to fans at all because you're not listening to us.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think at the end of the day, and again, we are three people. We are not the be all and end all, but we have seen a lot, maybe some more than other people in some areas and stuff, and we kind of have a thing. And on the back of that, and even turning the tables, when people say anything to us, again, we've had like quite good feedback, and I'm going to guess you've had the exact same. You're being very successful in what you're doing. If we ever get feedback on something, we would take it on board. Like, it might just be one person's opinion, but I'll take it on board if someone says something. I'm surprised no one yet has told me that I'm a gobby wee shite to calm down, but it's probably going to come soon, and I'm just accepting that.
They already have said you're a gobby wee shite, but they've said they like it.
Well, there's that.
I mean, they could give me criticism. I might have a wee cry, but I'll still take it on board and put it out there. But speaking, like, I know how you want to get onto SWE, so I've got the way to do that. Speaking of criticism, I did loads of reviews for them because I was going down Dundee to watch the shows, and Braveheart himself pulled me aside after a show because I was on this show. I think I was doing that fucking SWE GM shit.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Oh, I know you will. I will need to go for a quick bathroom break before we do that, so we can actually speak about it properly. But yeah, he said, right, I like your reviews, of course he does, but they're a bit too positive. And I like to write what I like. Okay. I don't want to, at that point, I wasn't like super critical of anything. I'll just go, I like this bit, I like this bit, this is nice, excellent, cool. This is how the match finished. Or as I think Martin once called a review on our site, what I did on my holidays. That's kind of what I was doing. So he said, you need to be a bit more critical. And the next one I did was the last Hell for Lycra I went to, because I couldn't go back, because I wasn't going back after that. It was the one with Animal, and I was not very complimentary on the show because they sold a dud. They didn't sell. They were selling Damo versus Animal, which didn't happen.
Oh, good.
Because Animal turned up to interrupt. Damo got beaten down by the Trident, one of which is now Stephen Air Miles. And Animal ran out to interrupt, and he was in his joggies and a t-shirt. He wasn't even in his ring gear. That was irritating as it was. And then there was a six-way flag match, and the flag was a yes flag for independence, which annoyed me because you shouldn't be bringing that shit into the
shows. It's not involved in wrestling.
Someone who got cancelled due to speaking out won it, and then proceeded to, and they were a heel, and then they wiped their arse with the flag, which again, that's dividing your audience straight away, because there's folk that'll be there that'll be voting no and all that. And then made a guess on the attendance of the show, and I think I was pretty accurate at about 300. And I got messaged by Braveheart, and he said the actual attendance was, it wasn't Braveheart, it was the other one on the register with one leg. He messaged me and said it was actually 550. And I was looking at it going, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. So I edited it to 350. Thought it was compromise. And I put it back out, and one of their guys messaged me going, is that how you really feel about the show? And I went, yes. And that was the last time I went to an SWE show, because I didn't feel comfortable going if they were going to be a dick to me for doing what I was asked to do, which is being more critical. I was more critical. They didn't like it, so I didn't feel comfortable going back down again. So all that, and obviously Braveheart wanted to corner me to tell me the whole story of Andrew Valentine not getting paid. As well, didn't help.
Well, I think that's a good time for our intermittent break in the middle of the podcast. We'll both go for we'll probably all go for a pee, but I'll need to queue because we've only got one toilet behind us. So that's
I have
fine.
two, but the bottom one I'm not using just now.
So we'll break there, and then we'll come back and talk about SWE. And we are back, we're refreshed, and it's time to talk about SWE. I think I'm surprised Billy didn't just leave. Sorry, my internet's cut out. So obviously you were involved with SWE aside from just going to their shows. So what did you even do with SWE? Because I've been sharing the photos online of you in a ring, in a shirt. So what was that?
So the first time I did a show with them was they were doing like who's going to be Braveheart's, no, who's going to be the next SWE GM. And I thought, I was doing the SWE TV stuff, and I thought, for a laugh, I'll do a wee pitch video. Again, not on the internet anymore, sadly. And I did it, just for fun. And they contacted me saying, "Yeah, if you want to come down to the it was Alan Smith that contacted me, so that's why I felt safe, because it was Alan." He contacted me saying, "Really good video, something like this." Paraphrasing, but it's really good video. Would you want to come down to the show on? I think it was supposed to be like 14th of February at that. No, 28th of January was supposed to be that year. And so I did another one, and I got invited down. It was me, Alex Fowlis, who was a co-owner. I don't know if he still is co-owner of Discovery. A guy called Jamie and their alter ego, Stevie Simmons. He was really nice. Or Jamie was really nice. And then, of course, the one-legged pedo was the other one. And we all had a...
Again, sorry, a one-legged pedo, that's just like a whole new level of nonce. Like,
he's slow at chasing.
What do you say? Easy to catch on nonce hunters.
Fair enough. So I got down. I invited my mate along because I didn't know what was going to happen. I was really kind of, you know how sad it was. They kayfabed me the whole time because they're wanks. So the show got cancelled because of snow, which was good because I need to drive down, and it was rescheduled for February 14th. And so my mate from Aberdeen, I picked him up on the way, and we went down, and he'd watched wrestling when he was younger, like in 1999 and that, but he wasn't really that interested. He was more interested in coming down Dundee with his pal. We'll watch some wrestling, go out and get pissed. That was his kind of plan. So I got down. I paid a ticket to get in because I wasn't told where to go. I paid a ticket to get in. I sat down, and then one of the assistants came up to me and went, "You Billy?" I went, "Yeah." "Oh, you two backstage." So I went backstage and left my mate all alone watching a show he was not really interested in watching.
Sorry, so you were a part of the show,
but I still paid a ticket to go in. Yeah. And yeah, so I got brought backstage, and it was Alan speaking to me, so again felt fine. He was telling me it was him in Braveheart, talking to me, saying that, right, you're gonna get a minute on the mic, and whoever gets the best reaction will contact you back, and you'll be on the show.
So diva search, basically.
A little bit, just clothed. And so I went out there. I didn't know how to hold a microphone at this point.
Okay.
Because again, I just arrived at about half an hour beforehand, and so I held the mic. I didn't know what to say. In the promo videos that I did, the wee things, I was an arsehole because I was from the Northeast, and which, to be honest, I didn't realize probably was more offensive to Dave than anything else. Was I was up in WrestleZone country, and I was down here doing this, and I was trying to go on much better than you. But I held the microphone about here, so nobody could hear what I was saying. So I did it. Oh, fuck, I've fucking broke my mic doing that. Right. So I did it, and it was awful. I didn't know what to do. I just kind of started mumbling, going, "Oh, I've traveled so far down to be here." Pretty much, I did a big babyface promo, and nobody could hear it anyway. And it was awful. It was really bad. And we did that. Everyone else did it, and then one-legged nonce did the ripping us all apart at the end, and went backstage. Everyone was saying, "Oh, he did a really good job." And Big Davey went, "Oh, we would like you to be more involved, but you can't do this role because it's so far for you to travel." I was like, all right, fair enough, cool. It was nice to do.
Yeah.
So I did that. Alex Fowlis won. Didn't last long because Discovery started, and that was a whole other thing. And then then they were doing another thing. So I still had the rose tinted glasses on at this point. So I was still an SWE fan for my sins. And there's another thing came up saying it was to send your videos in to be Braveheart's assistant, because he was now the GM somehow, shockingly. So I entered another one, and again I was like the big oh, Braveheart's the best, Braveheart number one, the Funaki style.
Oh, if we could find that video, that would haunt you for the rest of your life.
It was even better. The second one was called hashtag SW. It was called hashtag Yes We Can, but the SWE was in capitals.
And, Billy.
And the tagline was it, "Filling Braveheart's opening," was the title of the video.
Do you just like getting slagged on the internet? Is this do you?
You know what? I seem to have a subconscious kink for being slagged on the internet, even though I don't like it at all.
Yeah. What I'm also getting is that you seem to not understand how things sound.
Oh no, I did that one on purpose. In fairness,
okay,
I did do that one because everyone else was doing like proper grown up videos, grown ups, it's wrestling, but they were doing like I will do this, I will do that, and pretty much I came on with a laptop open, fuck all on it, laptop open, me typing and going. It was just I was really like licking Braveheart's arse. That's what I was doing the whole time. I was just being an absolute like that kind of guy.
That's getting clipped.
Thank you. So I did that, and I got invited down again. And the deal was that we would all get half of a show to run.
Okay.
So I went down, and the story of the shirt and tie photo, right? So there's no tie in it, and this is why. I had a clip-on tie. So I had a white shirt, clip-on tie, black trousers. I had shoes that I broke that morning. The heel broke off them.
Oh no.
So I was trying my best not to get them to break. I'd glued it before I left to come down to Dundee. And I also had a black jacket as well.
Yeah.
Which I stood outside the venue, and one leg nonce turned to me and went, "Are you going to a fucking funeral?" So I got rid of the jacket. Thought that was fair. Okay, I'll get rid of the jacket. That'll help with the look. And as soon as I ran out to the ring, as soon as I waddled out to the ring to start off with, I went into the ring as any normal human being does that watches wrestling, but my hand clipped onto the tie, and the tie fell off.
Is there footage of this?
There is footage of me doing ring announcing.
But there's this footage, because this, I think, this would
I don't think there's footage
keep
of
me
that.
going for a while.
So backstage before all that bit, I didn't get to know anything about the show.
Of course,
because I stood there with everyone. There was like all wrestlers. There was Damo. There was Ambrose. There was like some good wrestlers there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all went into the back bit of the Ardler complex to do the running order. And Braveheart turned to me and went, "No, you're not needed for this. Like, I'm gonna fucking take a picture of the running order and put it on the internet. Like anyone cares." And so I didn't know anything. Fuck all. I did this first segment, and I was right. This really fucking annoyed me about it as well. Right. So it was me and Jamie as Stevie Simmons. We were told to go out. I was going to push him over, and then grab the mic because I'm the bootlicker here. So I did that. Jamie wandered off. So that was a good start for this bit. We got into the ring, and I had to ring announce Braveheart. You do know that I co-wrote his entrance theme.
What?
Right?
Come again?
That's another story. Right. So I did that, and I was supposed to announce a match for the show. That was my job, and I didn't know what the match was going to be. He put the mic down and told me what it was going to be.
Okay.
The annoying thing was, it was put on Facebook what the match was going to be before I left to go down to Dundee. So the match was already announced. So the hardcore SWE army, whatever they call themselves, would have known this match was announced.
Yeah.
I knew this match was announced. And then I had to treat it like I didn't know, or that I came up with it off the top of my head that this match was happening. So that happened. I learned how to hold a mic at that point.
Oh, thank God.
Aye. So I kind of, he said that, this is Billy from OSW TV. And then I kind of like bigged myself up a little bit, did all that. I was the heel, which was nice. Everyone booed me, even better. That's the job you want to do.
Exactly.
Announced the match, all good. So that's that bit done. I got out the ring, my tie was gone. Fuck knows where it went. So then I went backstage. I think I found it at that point. I went backstage, put back on, and then I was asked to do another segment, which was Felix Fortune. There's a question about this, I know.
Yep.
Felix Fortune, he wasn't Felix at that point. He was Callum McMinn. Had a match and he lost it, and he lost the match. So Braveheart sent me out to fire him. That's that picture. And he said, right, after you fire him, put your kick him, like just put your foot on and knock him down because he's on his knees begging. So I went out and did, by order of Braveheart, like fucking Peaky Blinders here. By order of Braveheart, Colin McMinn, you're fired. I did a really good gravelly Vince impression in my head. Whether it actually came out like that, I don't know. And then he was begging at me, and then I put my foot on his chest and fucking pushed him. I just fucking went for it. So I did that. Awesome. I am on fire. Everyone hates me at this point. Loving it. Then I got asked to go back out again and do ring announcing for Randy Valentine against the Jackal. And it sounds really positive when I put all this out here because it was really fun at the time. But when I go back on it, it was a bit fucking weird what the circumstances of not being told what to do until like the last second.
Yeah.
So I went out and my plan was I was going to be the bad guy. I'm the bad guy in the show. I'm getting booed.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm going to forget all the good guys' names when they come out. So I announced all the bad guys when they came out. Like ones I can't say the name of anymore. Give them all a big fanfare. It was amazing. And then all the good guys came out, and I struggled to remember their names because I was like, oh, this is Mr. News. That's his name. And the next one came out, and because it was a lumberjack match,
Yeah.
and I got pulled aside by one of the face wrestlers afterwards, going, "Did you legitimately forget my name?" No. I've been here. I've been to these shows so many times. Of course, I fucking know your name. I just did it because I'm getting booed here, so I'm going to be the worst person possible. I lost my tie at that point as well.
Again.
I didn't learn the first time.
No.
I did it again. And where's the right? So I did all that. Went backstage again. Awesome time of my life. Went back out for the final segment, and I got big Dave fucking tore me apart and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember what he said. It was part of the show, so I wasn't like I was in real life when I see a wrestler and I get scared when they speak to me. But like this is part of the show, so I was all good. I was like looking all sad and glum and all that. Did that. Show ended. I got fired. Well, I wasn't fired. I think I was told I was fired, but technically I wasn't hired at the start of this to be fired. I didn't have a tie at this point because I'd lost it in the previous segment.
Okay.
Show finished. People stopped putting stuff away. I didn't know what the etiquette was. I wasn't fucking helping. Didn't want to. So a kid came up to me with wanted a picture with me, which was fucking mind blowing. And the little girl came up to me with my tie and asked me if I could keep it, if she could keep it, and I went, no. Give it back.
Oh, you've ruined that poor wee girl.
At least you stayed in character. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was more chuffed that she came back with it because if it was me, if I was her age and it was me, I was putting that in my fucking pocket and I was leaving.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the fact that I got my tie back after all that was great. And that was the same night, right? I think this is where you might have seen the belt for the first time because it was a Halloween show.
Okay.
There was a Halloween part or cosplay show the same night in Cage, the nightclub in Dundee. So after I finished up and everything, fucking madness. We went back to one of the wrestlers' houses and I got changed and I was Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Okay.
And so that's why I took my belt with me because instead of NWO, I had OSW on it. Like that's my custom belt.
Okay.
Right. The worst thing about it, right? Gas SW questions in a second because the Halloween thing, the cosplay thing was fucking horrific as well. Because I had this beard. I still have the beard, so I thought I'll be Hulk Hogan. I'll stick on a blonde beard because I wasn't dyeing it.
Yeah.
I didn't take anything to stick on the beard or the mustache, but I had a packet of chewing gum.
No.
Billy, I hope you're not going to say what you're going to say.
So I took a couple of bits of chewing gum, chewed them up real nice, stuck them to the back of the mustache. There we go. There we.
William, you've taken this too far.
So I had a black bandana on, my glasses because I needed to see. I stick on mustache with chewing gum. I didn't have this kind of beard. I had a close shaven beard. NWO t-shirt that I cut sleeves off, and I was still wearing the bottom half of my gear that I'd had on that night for the show because it's black trousers. It's all good. Yeah, and I had my belt which had OSW on it.
This feels like Crack Hogan, not Hulk Hogan. What the hell?
And I met a guy who was dressed. Well, he said he was dressed as Undertaker, but really he was in a trench coat with a like a hat and could roll his eyes back. Other than that, he didn't have a beard or anything. He just could roll his eyes back. So I've got a picture of that somewhere as well. I think that's actually on my Facebook. That's not hard to find. So yeah, that was that night. That was a really fun night.
That story is wild. Like, what?
It's the chewing gum in the beard.
Yeah,
That's
I would have just no put the beard on. That's just me.
That should have been the option I went with. Yes.
Yeah,
But,
just no. Just
I like to imagine you violently chewing gum. And I was like, what are you doing? You're like, it's for the beard. Just getting through a whole packet.
yeah, ba.
I was thinking, but no, it was extra. It was a nice smell the whole night. Actually, it was great because
Fair.
there was loads of BOE folk in Cage, and I was like,
Oh.
we waft of peppermint every so often.
Now,
But no, taking that off the next morning
I was
was
going to say.
because I kept on the whole. No, I took it off when I got back to the wrestler's flat. So that was I wasn't stupid enough to keep it on the whole night. I was stupid enough to do it, but not the whole night. Yeah, I pretty much had to. I was in their bathroom for a good 10 minutes trying to fucking scrub chewing gum out of my mustache, my actual mustache.
Were you single back then? Because I'm going to say, could you imagine pulling someone and then you're like, come to my house, and then you're like, oh, here's my chewing gum beard. You'd be like, nah, you've wrecked that.
I was not single at that point.
Oh, you're lucky.
I wasn't with Kelly, but I was with someone else who was a fucking nightmare in itself. But yeah, I was not single at that point, and it's probably good for everyone at that. I mean, I wasn't around. You fucking met me. I'm not going to go around pulling, winching wifeys any fucking which way. I would stare at them for a bit and go, "Oh, she's pretty," and then forget about it. That's my style. And message her. I was going to say message her on Facebook, but that sounds fucking creepy in itself. But,
I saw you tonight. Wanted to say hi, but didn't.
I saw you at a show dressed as Dawn Marie. I thought you were pretty.
I'm getting Nam style flashbacks here.
You're still getting those DMs, Kelly.
I'm not saying anything.
So I've only really got one more question about the SW stuff, right? But I mean, we'll make it a two-parter. First, quite easy. I know the answer. You're obviously in 4 segments, natural business things. Was that right?
Yeah.
Four segments. You're entertaining the crowd. You're actually part of the show. So I'm assuming you got paid for that appearance.
I didn't pay for my ticket this time, if that's what you mean.
Oh,
that is good.
No, I didn't get paid.
Okay. And I'm assuming they covered your travel as well.
No, they didn't.
Oh,
they didn't.
what are the chances of that?
Which was amazing because that week, my car broke down, and I needed to use my parents' car to drive all the way down to Dundee. So that was a fucking terrifying experience, leaving my car on the streets of Dundee, not sure if I had how to pay for parking, and hoped my car was still there when I got back. Not even my car, my parents' car was still there when I got back. But yeah, no, nothing got paid. I was on quite a lot of the show, and I got nothing for it.
Is that not a couple of hours away as well? Where you are?
I was still in Elgin. I'm still in Elgin at that point. So I drive from my parents in Pitsligo. So probably still looking at about 3 hours travel.
That just doesn't sound worth it.
It felt it at the time. Looking back,
Okay.
What the fuck was I doing?
I think, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of the time you can get blinded by that. Oh, I'm involved in wrestling.
Yeah.
Like any cool little thing to do with wrestling, you're like, and you're like, wait a minute, they were taking advantage of me. Okay, right, that's fine. SW is something else. Like, Kaylee, I'm glad that they've like faded into. They were always irrelevant, let's be honest, but they've faded into proper relevancy since you've kind of been aware of the.
Oh, I couldn't have dealt with this. Like, definitely not. So, are they still about? Do they still do stuff?
Oh yeah,
oh yeah,
they're still about. No, they've got a alleged racist as their top champion.
Oh, of course, sounds relevant.
So when Speaking Out happened, I took them off. I actually just waited for a reason to remove them. I didn't have any just cause to go right.
Okay.
I'm not featuring anymore. And then all that stuff came out. I was like, oh, fuck yes, you're off. So I took them off the site, and their new committee, one of them messaged me, emailed me directly, and said that we've made these changes and we would like to be featured on the site again. Never replied to it. About a month later, I got the same email again, pretty much the same email, and they did it a third time, and then that was it.
Yeah.
So they still wanted to be featured. I don't know what the fuck they thought I would, why the fuck I would do it, but yeah, I don't keep tabs on them, but I kind of just check who's on their shows just so I know, because I don't. really, I generally, unless they're featured heavily in other places, and they maybe, if they even do SWE as maybe a one-off, one time, I have no interest in interviewing them. If they're featured on SWE prominently, no interest in speaking to them because I have nothing to speak about. Because I don't mention them, I don't want to mention them. So
Yeah.
I need to know who's on these shows, so I know not who to
avoid.
contact. Yeah,
exactly.
And the last question about SWE, right, is just what is it like working with Dave Lowe? Because that must be fucking mental.
in my brief time, so I know that other guys that you'll probably speak to at some point through WrestleZone, that I will have a story or 10. My brief time is I think he believes that the SWE is the best promotion in the world, and I think he's got to the point where he's believed it so much that he can't not believe it anymore.
Okay.
But everything they do always seems to come with an air of like just shittery, just absolute shite bagness that comes with it. It's like when they announced Scotty Too Hotty for their show, they like Scotty Too Hotty's coming to Dundee, venue to be announced.
So they don't even get a venue for it.
They didn't have a venue for it, and then it was announced he was going to Iron Girders
Yeah.
that evening. So they had to put out another thing saying Scotty Too Hotty coming to Dundee. There is some confusion. This will be an afternoon show, venue to be announced. So still hadn't announced times at that point, but this is Scotty's coming to the show. And I think about maybe a week, maybe 10 days beforehand, they announced where it was going to be. I think it was their training school eventually. But it's just, there's such, just everything they do, there's always an air of shite baggery with it. It's just incredible it's incredible to watch.
Also,
and now that I'm not featuring them,
Yeah.
it's even better to watch.
It just sounds like, from everything you're saying, doesn't sound grand. I don't know loads about them, but like, just the elephant in the room. Who is this? The spam? Like, I've never heard of this. Dave? Who is he?
The pink elephant in the room.
Yeah.
He is the greatest Bret Hart parody that acts like Bruce Hart and probably looks like a fat Smith Hart. And I don't know if I don't know if he ever paid Bret Hart for appearing at their show.
So it's
Probably
just a
not.
fat ride, is what we're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I
Have
just-
you ever seen a picture of him?
I don't think so. I just feel like this is probably going to be a running theme. People are going to keep talking about him. The least I need to know is about the fat rides I'm talking about. So
I mean, you will have seen a photo of him, mainly because when we posted a photo of us at For Love of Wrestling, and I had my hair down for once.
Oh, you had the old SWE title there. That's
Yeah,
like that.
I think it was Midas that replied with a photo of Dave Lowe saying I looked like him. So,
was that them?
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes by
Okay,
Braveheart, but like HART, because he looks like Bret Hart, but he's Scottish, so he's Braveheart.
In fact, you haven't picked up on that I co-wrote his theme tune.
Right, what was that? Yeah, all right, we need to go back to that.
Yeah, like
Okay, right. So at the time, when I was going to the shows, he was using Billy Connolly's "Evil Scotsman."
love that song.
Yeah, but not great for a family show.
No, not at all.
Not the best choice. So because I was in their old rose tinted glasses, I was big into heavily into the SWE, big fan. I rewrote it and I put it on Facebook and tagged him in it because I'm an absolute geek. And it was pretty much what he released, what he recorded, because actually I don't want to say sang. I think sang's pretty high praise, but he recorded it. He only changed a couple of lyrics because I was big into SWE. There was one, I think, he's beaten everyone from Swift to News. So I name dropped Scotty Swift in it because I didn't know what the whole fucking thing was. All this was. So I think I was the only lyric he changed. But he recorded it. He didn't tell me, and then told me after he put it out on SoundCloud that I co-wrote it. I was like, oh, did I? But at that point, I didn't know. I didn't know if he was. I don't think they ever sold it, so I don't think I was ever like going, oh, shouldn't I get a cut of this at some point?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wrote. I don't know if he still uses it, but I co-wrote Braveheart's entrance theme. I wrote the lyrics for it.
Interesting.
So
That's a random one, but
well,
that's something else to add to your notches, I suppose. So
Yeah.
you're a podcaster,
Songwriter.
exactly a songwriter. You do it all.
you're Jimmy Hart. You're Jimmy Hart.
There you go.
Jimmy Braveheart. That's what I am.
Right. So to move away from SWE, right, or at least Dave Loroway, right, because the less we talk about him, the better. My cat is going mental outside, by the way. If you realise,
Dave Low too many times. That's why.
I thought it was him barging through my door. It was actually the cat. So we'll move on to some light-hearted things before we end up wrapping up. But one of the things I wanted to sort of have in the podcast is, can you explain to Kaylee what the Bulgarian Baker is?
Right. Okay. So, he seems to only operate in the W3 shows in Elgin. He does not seem to appear on any of the other northern shows now.
Okay.
He didn't appear at the last one anyway, apparently due to travel issues due to COVID. But essentially, the Bulgarian Baker, Branimir Bozdar, his name, is a guy that comes out dressed as a chef, usually dressed as a chef, with a baker's hat on and a mask.
Like
And
a full baker's hat, like Ratatouille style?
Yeah.
Or do you mean more like the kind of puff baby one?
I've got one somewhere. If I maybe I'll to find it. I'll find it in a sec. He comes out dressed as a baker with a mask on and a bit of a baguette. Usually comes out with a baguette, and he's called the Bulgarian Baker.
Okay.
That's about it. And depending on who's on the show, he changes forms. He's either like a fat lad or really skinny. Sometimes he monologues in a really broken whatever he's attempting to do Eastern European.
Okay.
You usually know who it is because there's usually a rumble at the end and the Bulgarian Baker will turn up and there's one missing from the show. One year was Sticky Divers.
Okay.
And I could tell it was mainly because he was still wearing his pink kick pads underneath.
Okay.
So that was fun year. I just find the character so mental and ridiculous that I love it at the same time. So sometimes he comes out with baguette, sometimes he comes out with a tiger loaf from Tesco.
Tiger loaf.
I know, that's go up in the world.
Yeah.
Sometimes he comes out. One year he came out with a crate, like one of those big plates of donuts. He did that one year. There was a tables match one year, and he had bakery goods all over the table.
Love it.
I know it sounds amazing.
I love the details of it. Like I'm feeling it.
And I love this character so much. I'm fairly certain he only gets booked in Elgin because I praised the show that he's on, and that's possibly the only reason why he still appears on any shows, because it's terrible. Even when I was speaking, right. This is the most mental thing about it. When I was speaking to Damo for the podcast with him,
he
was talking about they only let him talk really because he had a foreign accent, and the only other ones were the Bulgarian Baker and someone else. And I was like, oh my god, we're speaking about the Bulgarian Baker on a podcast with a former WWE wrestler. This is the best day ever. But no, it is so absolutely terrible that I love it all. Right, I'll see if I can find the hat.
Please do.
I got one for my birthday, and it was signed by the Bulgarian Baker. So,
of course you did. Oh, I love it. This honestly, do you know?
Yeah, signed by himself.
Oh my god, I love that. Which actually, this is the thing. So I have two questions. The first one is there a backstory why he's from Bulgaria, or is it just because it's good alliteration, or why?
No, there's no other explanation than that. I did a because I was bored one day at work. So not at work, I was bored at home. I was working hard at work. I did a very long article explaining the origin of the Bulgarian Baker on the site, and it's still on the site as well. It's called Half Baked: The Bulgarian Baker Story.
I'm going to have to read this. This
is
class.
You could be a tag team. The baked beans.
The Bulgarian Baker. Yes.
Yes.
Beans on toast forever.
Beans on toast. Beans on toast.
So yeah, I did a very long, and I pulled out some quote. No, again, this is the weirdest thing. I spoke about this with Tom Atlas, the episode that came out like last week at this point. I made up quotes from the likes of Finlay, Chris Jericho, which was my favorite quote. And Claudia Schiffer was in there as well because
Of course.
because he ended up in the circus in Germany, and he started training at WXW. That's how he became a wrestler.
Okay.
But no, I'll get the Fozzy one because it was my favorite one to write. He says, "Oh, Bo's star, as I like to call him, was a genius. He was a natural. He also came up with the name Fozzy while we were jamming one night, baby." Chris Jericho.
No, I need to read this after this. I'm now a wee bit obsessed with this. I want to know more about it. Like, this is interesting.
It's the best
Well,
worst thing ever.
This
I mean,
is
I love
this.
Lord Mr. Malice, but he's still got a little bit of he's actually like a character. This is just a fucking random guy they have on the tour that they dress as a baker,
This is
and I love it.
this is fun. I'm all for this. My second question off the back of that, which you might have actually answered technically, I wanted to find out, do you have any random or your best piece of wrestling memorabilia? So I know you had your belt, but I don't know anything else you had. But now I know you've got a baker's hat. I don't know if you've got anything else that you want to like share, talk about, etc.
I've got WrestleMania 19 chair, but I don't really talk about it because I didn't go to WrestleMania 19. I just bought it off eBay,
Okay.
and it's signed by a bunch of folk. So,
Oh,
but I don't know who. That's the thing, because it's all
Oh.
like scribbled and all that kind of stuff. I think Matt Hardy's on there, which would be cool if it is, but I've no idea otherwise. I just like it. It's cool. It would cost me like £100 on eBay, so like
that's so
having
cool.
that. As far as weird things, the hat is pretty weird. I'll give it
Yeah,
that.
that is.
I've got a foam WWF tag team title signed by Hacksaw Jim Duggan because I was too nervous to say no when he asked if he wanted me to sign it. That was up there because I wanted Billy Gunn to sign it and he signed it. And
Yeah.
then I turned to Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I wanted him to sign Royal Rumble Anthology because he won the first one.
Yeah.
And then he went, "Do you want me to sign your belt?" And I went, "Yeah." And he signed it. So that's that. The first SWE show I got WrestleMania 4 signed by Ted DiBiase.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's cool.
As far as weird merch goes, I'm one of the idiots that bought the wee custom pops at WrestleZone shows. So
I saw them. They were at the first show that I went to. I like that.
Right, who's that meant to be?
well, you should have seen it when I got it because the hair was all like flat in the middle. I spent a good far too long making the spikes.
Oh, it was like Day Off, Scotty Swift.
I was, yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. I've also got a Mr. P one, but I can't reach it from here.
That is bold.
and it was made pre-kilt as well, so it's got his old black gear as well.
you could get a wee kilt made.
I do have a. Okay, hang on. This will probably sum up how much of a nerd I am. I've got a little. He's called Steve Astrain.
That's so cool.
He's got a little beer can behind him as well, and he's even got a knee brace.
Oh no, that's cool. You know how I feel about a knee
What does that
brace.
say on the back?
Smell, yeah.
Smell, yeah.
And
Also,
instead of 316, it's 455 because it's ass.
interesting. So hold on, wait. See, like this could be weird. See that figure? Do you know who makes it? Because it looks like a figure collection that I'm trying to get, and it looks very similar, like art style.
They're called the Turds, is what they're called.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the ones
I had several. I had loads of them. They're all like shit based. So I had one's called Lazy Shit, and he was like a big fucking blob of crap on a chair.
Okay.
Sofa.
It's nice that you finally got a Braveheart one again. 1-0.
There we go.
That's for the boys.
1-0.
So yeah, I had loads at one point. There were too many. The only one I really wanted I wanted that one. But as soon as that was on pre-order, I was like, I'm fucking getting that. And also I really wanted. He was called Shatman. There's a Batman one. That was the other one I really wanted. But I had a bunch. But it's not something you really display.
Yeah.
When you want women to come back to your flat at the time, that was pretty low on things I should have. Although to be fair, the other weird thing I've got, which I don't have it here, but PBW did a show in PBW wanks in itself, but they did a show in the Ironworks.
Yeah.
And I was helping out. I was like ferrying folk. I was driving folk about. That's how I met Ricochet, who introduced himself as Trevor, and now I can't see him as anything else because they came up to me and, "Oh, hi, I'm Trevor." I know you're Ricochet. You spoiled the magic for me. There was Party Marty was on that tour as well. Wasn't the best. But you know, Jay Lethal was on the show and he was against Liam Thompson. And for all the big matches, they got plastic, like they're supposed to have girls hold them up like rounds kind of thing at the
Yeah.
start of the shows. A bit seedy when you put it that way. But there was one left behind, and it was Liam Thompson against Jay Lethal. And the promoter at the time, who Rock and Wrestle promoter, not the PVW one, turned to me and went, "Just take it home if you want." All right. So I took it home. So it's PBW Championship match, Liam Thompson against Jay Lethal, and that's in our loft in my folks.
That's
Other
pretty
weird
cool.
things. I've got Hardy Boys doormat again at my folks' house.
That's cool.
And I've got a limited edition Hardy Boys mirror, which was they've got like the both sides of their profile on either side, and then the Hardy Boys symbol in the middle.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
the T-shirt that I've got, like
Yeah. Like what
Yeah.
I wear the t-shirts. Yeah, I've got that,
Yeah.
and it's a mirror. Again, it's at my parents' house again.
so cool.
I've got a bunch of weird DVDs that
Really?
still wrestling. Oh no, saying that, no, actually,
Them
no.
to yourself.
No, there's some. Yeah, I end up collecting loads of weird DVDs through eBay and all that kind of stuff. Some where I thought were just wrestling were not just wrestling. Yeah, I've collected a bunch of weird stuff over the years. Now, this is the pop shelf I've got there, pop stuff, and the belts is pretty much all that's kind of
Yeah.
traveled to my grown up abode. But the rest of it is in my parents' loft, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna have them on display.
I mean, I'm just obsessed with these turds now, right?
Yeah, like
I've looked them up on eBay. There's loads of good ones. There's Dr. Pooh. There's Snoop.
There was supposed to be an underdumper that was supposed to come out, and then they
Oh.
kind of stopped making them, and I was gutted because I really wanted it.
There's Snoop Doggy Pooh. There's the Rim Reaper. Strain Pooney, which is meant to be Wayne Rooney. Oh, these are fantastic.
The
Also-
Turdinator was in there as well.
See, speaking of your random DVDs and stuff, I remember there was someone, it was like a birthday or something, and someone was just getting like gifts for kids, like family friends and all that, and they went, "Oh, I got your wrestling DVD." Didn't realize they got me that like video of like the Diva Search where they're like doing the bikini shot on the beach, and I was like, it might say WF on it, but that's not really what I'm looking for. Is like an 8-year-old's like
I might
female.
have that one.
So I remember just being like, what am I gonna do with this?
Yeah, there were some weird ones I had. I didn't buy it for this reason, but it was wrestling. There was wrestling matches. I think like maybe Velvet Sky was on it, or maybe Taylor Wilde or something. And then in between these matches, it was fucking porn. And it was so weird to watch because I was like, all right, I'll put this on. I bought some Fierce Females DVDs as well. I was like, all right, cool. I'll just watch some of these. I was watching the match going, all right, okay, cool. And then it cut to like one dressed as a teacher, and I'm going, this is a bit weird.
The winner is Velvet Sky.
And then one of the wrestlers is going, what was it called? I don't want to Google it because I'm on my work PC, and I think that's probably not a good idea. But yeah, it was weird. And then another wrestler from one of the matches came in, and she was dressed as a schoolgirl, and I was watching it going, what's happening here?
Yeah.
And I just kept watching, and I was like,
gosh, you did.
This is just more out of curiosity at this point. I was like, this is the fucking weirdest thing I've ever seen. So then I watched the next match. Oh, it's wrestling again. Sweet. And then it fucking started again. I was like, oh, hang on. They do backstage segments, backdoor, whatever, backstage segments. And I was so fucking confused watching this. I mean, I watched the whole DVD, but still, it was such a weird thing to watch because it's not what I bought it for. But that's what happened.
Okay.
There was porn on it.
You know, people are now going to be asking for the link. Like, what was that DVD?
We need the review on SWN. That's what we need.
Right. Do you know something? The next time we'll have a review from us see of what we thought about that DVD.
A watch along.
Watch along.
I'll remember it. I'll remember the dead of night, and I'll say it out loud. And Kelly will look at me going, "What the fuck did you just say?" I just wake up and just go, "Wrestlelicious."
And you don't get to hang out with that Kaylee and Kyle over again. So it wouldn't be one of our interviews. You won't know this yet because first one without random questions. So I just like to think of random things at the top of my head, just ask questions, quick fire, see what you think. First one I want to know is if you could sniff any wrestler, what wrestler do you want to sniff?
I'd probably go Andy Wild because he smells really nice.
Wild.
Smells of Tiger Balm and Deep Heat, and that's a nice combo.
Nice.
You can smell him coming. That's you can
Sorry.
smell him entering the ring. No, that's
hope
even better.
Sorry.
no.
Squeeze me.
Andy Wild would be my answer because,
Okay.
to be honest, I've spoken about me being called the Bean and porn tonight, so let's try and make it a bit more professional tips to save it.
Okay. Well, we'll take on a different direction, right? Before again, they might just come to my head. So I might just think of other random questions, but we'll go to my next one. So, something about me is I am very passionate about things I hate, which you might have got by now. I never keep my opinion to myself. It's something I do. So we are actually going to do a series ourselves talking about our wrestling room 101. Something that you wish would get put in that vault, locked up, and never come back.
Not affiliated in any way with anything relating to like a straight to hell or anything that Cultaholic might do.
No.
Just to put it out there.
I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call it Ring 101, right? So it's going to be Ring 101.
That's one of Billy's DVDs.
You know it. So I think next week you'll be hearing what ours are getting sent straight to Vince's office. What's something you would like to add onto that list?
Wrestlers who screenshot posters and match graphics and put them on Facebook.
Yes.
Because fucking hold it down and save photo. It's not that difficult. It's not difficult at all.
It's not.
And there's so many promotions that fucking do this, and it irritates me every time I see it. Or wrestlers as well. Just fucking die, or at least crop it. If you don't know how to save it, fucking screenshot it and then crop it. It looks stupid.
This is the issue I have, and it's not necessarily his fault. It was, I think, WrestleZone fucked it a wee bit when they uploaded the Regal Rumble poster. Initially, it was a really small size, so like they uploaded the wrong size, right? So then eventually they fixed it and uploaded the full graphic. But Ronan did his Ronan Rumble thing, but he'd used like the old poster, which was like really blurry and like thingy.
Yeah.
And great concept, but execution, unfortunately, just wasn't there.
Yeah. No,
so I agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. That needs to get sent straight there. Like, again, I could go on. I have many things we could talk about. Do you want to add anything else to your room 101? Or your ring 101?
That's pretty much the worst one. I mean, outside the obvious, SWE still running shows. That's pretty much high. But generally, though, that's such a petty pet peeve of that, and your one you'll have, which is fans getting into the ring and not knowing how to. That's pretty high up there because it's it's folk that watch wrestling all their lives and don't know how any of it fucking works. It's just the weirdest thing.
There's certain things that as a wrestling fan you know how to do. Number one, you know how to act in a crowd normally. Number two, you know how to get in a ring. You know how to hold a belt. And then do you know something else, which again, spoilers for next week. See people that have watched wrestling their whole life, but when it comes to doing basic refereeing, and they just, I
want to add people who can't say Ted DiBiase correctly, because it was Ted DiBiase on TV, it was Ted DiBiase everywhere else. If I have to hear one fucking chuckter say Ted DiBiase again, I'm going to fucking go ballistic. So I'll add that as well. Okay,
I've never heard that, but that would trigger me too. So
I mean, Kyle saying Sisto annoys me, but not enough for me to be really annoyed by it, like proper raging by it.
What should it be?
Sisto.
It's irrelevant to me.
It doesn't count.
You and your we mentioned saying Krieger wrong so many times that you fucked it up when we were recording.
Also, I got told I say it wrong, but then I want to put it out there. Is it maybe a bit of dialect? Because most things I say with a Glaswegian accent don't sound the same anyway.
No.
How did you say it?
Now I'm thinking about it, I don't know.
No, because you were corrected on it by people from here.
Is it not Krieger? Is that what I said?
Yes, that's what you said.
Krieger.
It's Krieger.
It seems Krieger seems right.
There's not even an A in it.
It was EI, like Krieger, like Geiger. Krieger. Oh no, it's that goes up against not the same.
You just proved yourself wrong.
But no, the guys at Big Dave, he's getting a lot of mentions tonight. He'll be asking for a cut of all the profits. Although we mentioned porn, so it's not going to be monetized anytime soon. It's yeah. He kept saying Ted DiBiase in promos and everything, and it fucking ground my gears so much because it's Ted DiBiase. That's how it's said. Say it right. You
I'm
idiot.
not being funny. It's like it's not as if you don't hear the guy's name being said over and over again. Like
Exactly.
Come on, get it right.
Or people on signs spelling. Oh, right, we've started something now. But people that are signs in the crowd that spell John Cena JHON. Don't fucking write the sign if you can't spell his name right.
Just people that just there's certain signs that just shouldn't. But again, we'll keep that for another day. We'll make a rant episode because again, you know what I'm like. You get me started, I won't stop.
I mean, it would just be Goldberg, and then that's the full 2 hour. That's a full 2 hour segment.
Kyle, we've not mentioned that absolute Bam's name since anyone's seen my face. I can't have anyone see me having a breakdown when you mention that absolute walloper. No, it's banned. Not allowed to be said.
Well, Kaylee,
I will leave.
If you want to calm yourself down, would you like to go to our listener questions? And we'll fire through them before we finish up.
If anyone has mentioned anything on here, they are getting cut off. Like, I'm just put out there. So we'll start with number 1 and friend of the podcast and been mentioned earlier today, Mr. Ian Skinner. So he says, you have to fight one person from a martial arts discipline. Which discipline do you choose to fight? Brackets, i.e., which form of martial arts do you think you could wreck?
Well, none of them really, unless they're really small and I could sit in them. I don't know. I could probably smash someone at origami. That's about it. That's all I've got. I've got nothing.
You said origami. My brain went somewhere else after what we were talking about earlier on, and I was like, "Where are we going with this? This is not the podcast."
No,
I've seen videos. I know how this works. Get the little schoolgirl outfit on. Come on. No, that sounds fucking weird. I said that loud.
I'm going to just be sitting here going, right, which clip do I choose for the preview? I'll put the whole thing. There you go.
It's me saying that I would sniff Andy Wilde. Surely that's got to be quite high on the list of things.
It's up there. It's top five at least. I mean, I would like to see you, like, you know, in Friends when Monica's boyfriend's trying to be the fighter. When he's trying to be the fighter, and he's like, "Am I the ultimate fighting champion?" No. Well, I'm not stopping until I'm the ultimate fighting champion. That'd be Billy.
Yeah, I'll be Pete, the ultimate fighting machine. I'll be the Bean, the ultimate fighting machine. It rhymes with everything.
The ultimate fighting McBean. Oh, the McBean. You could be Scottish. McBean.
Oh, honestly, going back to what I said earlier on, I really want to have this like road to wrestler style thing, and it is going to be like you taking this bean mission that you've had for so many years and really taking it there. Like,
see if anyone actually listens to this. By the way, fair play if anyone's listening at this point.
If you got past the porn section, well done.
If you got past the first 15 minutes of me having my camera being like, you're also having a good time.
Right.
I thought I was going to have good luck today. I even wore Mr. Podcast thinking we might have like a good time, and I've wrecked it.
I mean, no, it has been very much like a Kevin Smith podcast. So
yeah,
you know that is.
You've not had Jason Mewes doing his whole like thing, so there's that too. He normally tries to suck off and imagine a ghost, and it's Kyle's favourite part of the podcast.
I think that was the third segment in that DVD.
Oh yeah.
Oh Jesus! Right. Next question.
So, Mr. Ronan King, Mr. thinks he's some, has said, Billy, as a fan of WrestleZone, you must not have thought it could have gotten any better. So how happy were you when out of nowhere, the best wrestler in the Milky Way showed up and just performed at a different level than anyone else?
One, I love Milky Ways. They're great sweet. Two, the fact that you swore out of nowhere and I missed it is the most disappointing thing that's happened to me in wrestling in the last 12 months. and that's quite high. The fact that everyone, including my wife, turned to me and went, "Did he just swear?" And I went, "I didn't hear that." And then when you look back on the footage, how the fuck did I miss it?
Yeah.
It's him swearing. No, he's really good. He is really working the Twitter very well. He is certainly he's certainly helping maybe get WrestleZone on the social media a bit better because
Yep.
I almost spilled my beer there. That he's really putting WrestleZone on the map a little bit with their social media presence. So he's doing a very good job, and as long as he stops swearing on shows, then he should be good to go.
Now, my only thing here is for those who, you can go onto the Twitter and see the actual messages wrote. I mean, for the amount of money his mom is paying for him to go to a private school, he doesn't know how to use a comma. Come on. Come on.
Well, Ronan King, no grammar king. He's just
True.
trying his best.
He's doing what he can, But
Just he got his tattoo spelt right. That would have been embarrassing.
That's
can you
true.
imagine the Cody Rhodes style Ronan tattoo?
Do you think if he ever changes his name, so if he ever decides to go a different ring name, do you think he just has to say that he was a big fan of Ronan Keaton or something like that?
Ronan the rat. Big fan. No, I love to think, imagine one day he makes it and they're sitting down going, "So you want to change your name?" And he goes, "Actually, I've always been a bit of a Ronan fan. So I've kind of got a thing going here. We can't really change it." I'd love to see that go down.
You'll have to do just parody things and just come out in a boiler suit and a Greek ginger beard and be Eric Ronan, and just
oh yeah,
just
That'd
add
be
Ronan
good.
into anything. There
Yeah.
you go.
Oh,
That's why I don't write wrestling. I come up with ideas like this in the bean.
you give me enough time and I'll think of some more ideas. I've had 2 good bangers so far. Never know
This
what's
is when
coming
we-
next.
This is when we start an offshoot of the podcast already. We've already got 2 different series, and it's just an E-Fed. We're just the 3 of us booking an E-Fed.
Every so often, they'll cut to someone doing a promo and just going, I'm going to beat you, the bean. I'm going to beat you hard. I'm going to beat you fast.
They were stunned. And on that, we will move on to the next question because who knows where that will go. We had lovely Adam Morrison has said, is Felix Fortune more or less of a Hall of Famer than Hillbilly Jim?
In answer to this question is Felix Fortune. He may be a Hall of Famer, but I did kick him in the ring, so should I be a Hall of Famer? Perhaps. Was I on 2 shows and was booed successful in one of them? Yes. Was I paid in either? No. No. The whole thing's fucked anyway. It was either Hall of Fame, SWE's Hall of Fame anyway. They've got Animal on there who did fuck all except be a grumpy cunt about things, and then just turn up in his joggies.
Makes no sense.
It's ridiculous, and nobody cares. Nobody cares enough about it. I mean, I'm 4 beers in. I care a little bit about it because it's stupid. But Felix Fortune, Hall of Famer. Fuck knows. Who cares? It doesn't count.
Yeah, it's not for you.
No.
Also, at least you've got something. You might have only been on 2 shows briefly and not paid, but at least your name's not redacted. So
There we go.
Not yet.
Oh no, yeah. After this, maybe.
After those DVDs, yeah. Uh-huh.
The fact
The SWAT team.
No, I forgot about this for a brief moment until we started speaking about it, and I was like, "Oh fuck, they are actually in my parents' loft. What if they take it down?" Because I've always said, when my cousins come over, they can just watch any DVDs that I've got. It's fine. They like wrestling, and I'm really worried that they might end up watching that at some point, and then
You're going to
I've
get
got
a
a
wee
lot of
question.
questions to answer.
Yeah. Or you're going to be the best uncle ever. So either way, do you know what I mean? Depends.
Yeah, but then you don't want that, do you? Oh, my uncle. Oh, he showed me this video. Oh, there we go. SWN's taking a break. Billy's in the jail. See you later.
my uncle likes the wrestling. He showed me these DVDs of there was a schoolgirl and a headmistress, and I don't know what happened, but
You take them to WrestleZone and they're wildly disappointed. What's this? What, do you enjoy this? And with that takes us on to our last question of the night, which is from Dennis Law, which I know you bit touch and go.
It was quite impressive that he actually found the keyboard to play this. But
True. So, how poor are the lunch options in Elgin Town Centre nowadays since the best sandwich shop owner sold her business back in 2017?
Right. Do you know why he's asked this question? Just out of curiosity.
Kyle did inform me because later on I went, why the hell does he care about what people are eating for their
Yeah.
lunch?
So, yeah. So his wife, Gemma used to run Gemma's Lunchbox in Elgin, and I used to go there quite frequently to the point where I had a usual, which says everything about that. It was sweet chili chicken on curly fries with coleslaw for those that are very curious.
oh
Coleslaw.
wait, no, sorry, I get the coleslaw bit right, but curly fries in a sandwich.
No, there was no sandwich. It was
Oh, okay.
curly fries, sweet chili chicken, microwaved or heated up anyway, on there, and then a bit of coleslaw on the side. Yes.
I don't agree with coleslaw, but everything else, cushy.
Yeah. So yeah, and then she shacked up with that Dennis Law and ended up moving to White Hills, and should sell the business. And I haven't been back since. Mainly, well, for two reasons.
And that's why.
For two reasons. One, they started pushing a vegan agenda, which I was not happy with. And then I started work from home, so I'm not. That's a very long fucking commute for me. I mean, it's not that far, but my kitchen's down there, so I could just make myself something. So yeah, that's the reason why I don't go back. But yeah, they did push a wee vegan agenda for a bit, where all their specials were like quiche, and quiche is the worst thing in the fucking world.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I didn't go back initially. But sometimes they still do good. Kelly still uses them because she works in the center. So
Nice.
apparently they're still okay. But it's not the same. It's not the same since Gemma was in charge. And had my usual ready to go when I walked in.
Also, while we're talking about Dennis Law, right, I feel like there's an elephant in the room with this one, right? And I feel like we need to address this, right? It's like when you tell kids about that man that does the presents, right? So I don't know if people think that we really don't like Dennis. I don't think they get it's a running joke.
Yeah, I'm not sure either at this point. Because
to be fair, I don't know if it's a running joke with Adam. He might actually not like him, but I know it's a running joke with us.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, between that and Kelly fucking calling out Mikey's shoes on an episode, we do not have a good relationship in universe with the referees at WrestleZone. But it is literally all done in fun. It's part of the experience, part of the show, part of the thing. It's like me whinging about the table match back in whenever it was, 2018, when the Rejected beat Kings of Catch when they shouldn't have, because it wasn't illegal. It was a legal table. It should have been. It was never stipulated to be. Anyway, right. So and then Fago fucking apparently, I didn't know at the time, trying to find me in the crowd so he could just pretty much go, fuck yeah. But no, it's all done in good fun. That's why I like going to WrestleZone, because I like to think we're all in on the joke. I don't know if they're literally backstage going, look at that fucking baldy beardy prick who thinks this is all real. What we're gonna do tonight, or we're gonna do this, and he's gonna whinge about it for 5 years. I like to think we're all in on it.
Now that does extend up until the point of Aspen Faith, like that main event at what was that show? Anarchy. It was. I was going to say Battle of Nations. I'm like, have I got it in the future? But that main event, like, I've genuinely, like, I wish I had a heart rate monitor on, because it was actually bad. Like, I was genuinely like sweating at the end of it. Like, my heart was going like clappers. Like that. See, for that match, it was real. Like, wrestling was real at that point. And it was just, I don't even remember the match. I just remember the whole time just wanting him to win.
Yeah. That was a very awkward moment, because as I've said many times, I don't handle being confronted by wrestlers very well, and the fact that Dynamite, who I'm speaking to on Monday, so I know that I'm going to get really upset, but not in a real way, but like I'm going to get upset about it. The fact that he shoved his belt in my face, his wrestling belt in my face, and
back again,
and said this is the closest that Aspen was going to get to it, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna like.
Also, I love that you hated that, right? And it's probably why you regret sitting next to me, because I I was wanting that to happen for weeks, to the point where I mentioned it on the preview, right? So I planted the seed, right? Then after Aspen lost, there was an initial, oh man. And then I just sat there for like 5 minutes, just like that, with them back. And I was like, here we go. Oh yeah, got them, reeled them in, let's go.
See, this is where it's different. You sit and you plan what you want to happen. My face can't hide how I feel. I just go in there genuine emotions. I never think in advance how I'm going to feel or what I want to happen. But at that moment, my favourite thing was you were doing your thing, Kyle, but all I could look at was you, Billy, because I was like, you hate this. And then in the nicest way possible, I was thriving off it. I was like, this is great. Look, I'm squirm. And you were just sitting there
look
like,
at him anxiously. Just go,
yeah.
oh, don't speak to me. I've only ever confronted one wrestler at a WrestleZone show, and I was 2 rows back, so I felt safe. And it was Shawn Johnson when he was part of Sterling Oil, because he stared at me and went, what? And I stood up and went, what are you going to do about it? And then we were both, because Shawn's very, very like non-confrontational as well. So there was a brief moment where we were staring at each other and we were looking at each other, and I could tell he was thinking, what do we do now? I'm just going to keep walking. That's fine, cool. I'll sit down. That's all right, cool. That's fine. so yeah, I just the Rumble where I shouted that Dennis made bollocks decisions. That was my favorite night when it came to shouting things at wrestlers. I just don't. I don't want them to come at me. I like to enjoy the show myself. But yeah, Kelly did not know who I was during the Rumble because I kept shouting so many things. And then when the end happened, I went, Dennis, that's bollocks. She was like, were you going to shout something else? I fucking was going to shout something else, but there's kids around me, so I cannot say what I was wanting to say, which was like, that is fucking shit, Dennis. You arsehole. But yeah, I'm not good with wrestlers confronting me, and I know that every time I say this, it heightens the chance of it happening at the next show I go to.
Yeah, you've now got a target on you, to be quite honest. And then if you sit beside big man, it's definitely a target, because Kyle will make sure to rile them up throughout.
And like that. At you. I'm like, oh no, don't shout at, oh no, what you doing? No, go away. Oh, I don't want this. Oh, you like, does that? Please leave. Please, no, look, no, go away. Seriously.
No. We've had our moment. You've stared at me too long now. Move on.
Yeah.
Move on, please. I've got nothing for you. I'm not doing anything.
Oh, it's genuinely so funny. Like, I love to see it.
Right. We have chatted for a long time, and fair play to anyone that's actually listened this far. If you can prove that you listened this far, then I don't know.
Tell me what DVD what I was describing happened on. That would be great.
There we go.
So I can find it in the collection.
Just get rid of it. Burn it.
Burn it. We're doing a watch along.
Well, that's a good point, actually. We'll watch
3 copies. That's what we do. Just I want to send one to you. That's what we can do there too. My own personal collection.
Double screen. So before we finish up, one last question. Obviously, the podcast, you've got some massive episodes coming up, and then obviously you're taking a break for the impending child that is coming into your life. So
the way you say it like that does not make it sound as nice. Like, oh, see, I love a child coming, the impending child upon you,
the ruiner.
Yeah.
So what is next for SWN? What's the future looking like?
Well, the plan is I'm still going to do the results. I'm still going to do all that kind of stuff when I can. Adam, thankfully, isn't having a child as far as I'm aware, so we'll still have like reviews and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know what's going to happen recording wise. I keep kind of thinking of things. I might do like a once a month live episode on Facebook or something. So at least stuff's still going out on the podcast feed. But really, I have no idea. So the last episode I've scheduled all my final episodes to be recorded. Whether they all happen, I don't know. And then the last episode is going to be the quiz, the Birth Bonanza 2. And then that's it. It'll finish 1st of July because my birthday is the 2nd, so it all kind of ties in.
Perfect.
And that's it. Baby's due to be born end of August, so that gives me 2 months to kind of mentally go, oh my fucking god, I'm going to be a dad. And then yeah, that's I don't know is the real kind of overarching answer. The site itself will continue as is, but the podcast stuff I don't know.
Interesting. It's exciting times. It is exciting times, isn't it? you're finally becoming a grown up. You're finally becoming a grown up, Billy. I know you are married, which would make you a grown up, but you know, you're the. I mean, you might actually be one of the first WrestleZone fans to be able to prove that you've done it. That could be.
True, but you completed it at least once, so well done.
As far as that child knows, it only happened once. That's it.
Then there was no baker's hat involved.
I was wearing the belt.
Right, that's a fun.
That's what happened in the video. That's what happened in the video. That's my inspiration.
I might get a message from you tomorrow, just like, okay, see that bit. Can you just cut that out, please? And that bit, and that bit actually.
Oh no, I don't. At this point, I don't have any fucking shame with these podcasts. So I don't.
Oh, so I'll let you plug all your stuff before we finish off. Where can people find you?
That wide eye look was going, oh fuck, what is all my stuff? You can follow the website at ScottResNet on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can follow my own one at Strack114. I barely post though because I do most of my stuff on ScottResNet stuff. Website SWNscotland.com. We have so much stuff. You can go check Half Baked, the Bulgarian baker story. We should go check that out now.
Yes.
And along with all the other weird stuff that we've done, a podcast, SWN podcast. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We've had interviews with the likes of, I'm doing this like people have still got to the end of this. We've had interviews with the likes of Big Damo, Scotty Swift for hours on end, Joe Hendry, and other names you may not have heard of, but you'll probably hear of soon.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the podcast, being our first guest, popping our cherry when it comes to interviewing. I mean, I had to be on theme, didn't I? Had to be on theme of what we're talking about today. So yeah, it's been really fun. Obviously, thank you very much for listening and watching. To everyone at home or wherever you are. There's probably like 5 of you actually listening because we're not talking about wrestlers. So
we did. We name dropped quite a few people.
That's true. I need to tag them all in the post and upload
Half
it.
the guys are here for the Braveheart stories. They really are.
That's true. That's very true. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. Obviously, you can follow us over on Twitter at KK Wrestle Pod. You'll find our personal Twitters from there, but I wouldn't recommend following me. I talk a lot of shit.
Or me, I just pish talk.
So yeah, follow the what do you call it? The podcast thing on Spotify and Apple, etc., and then subscribe to the YouTube. That's the most important one for us just now. So if you've got this far, not already, then you're a bit of a prick. So that's
exactly.
But
and what did they all at the end? There was like it and all that, which I always think said cheesy. But now that I do YouTube, I'm like going to actually like it, going to actually subscribe it, especially if you want to see our faces again.
Fair. So
let's put them off now.
We'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.